Welcome. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. Winners and Losers, episode 223 starts right now. Still got it, man. I still got it. Hi, everybody. It's me, Hank. It's been a long time since I've gotten to grace your earwaves with my voice waves. It's nice to be back. This is my fifth time trying to start this episode, so I'm sticking with this one. We're going to do a great show today. We're talking diarrhea. We're talking air diarrhea. You'll find out what that is real soon. We're talking Joe Rogan and JD Vance. There's not a ton there. I don't know. I'll probably talk forever about it. Who knows? And I got some other stuff. I don't know. It's too much. I meant to do a shorter episode, and then, of course, it's ballooned into a behemoth of massive proportions. But we'll get to diarrhea later. You know what I mean? Yeah, nice times here in Trump's America. Everything's going great. We got wars and the same war called the new war. We have this same war being started over again into other wars. We've got diarrhea all over the place. We got algae growing. I missed the entire news cycle around the reflecting pond. Not a lot of reflecting going on in our brains these days, where we all could do a lot more of it. I would argue. I have expertise in fish tanks. I wouldn't say expertise. That makes it sound like I should charge for it. But I did run an aquarium business for almost 10 years. And I would tell clients that algae is a function of three things: temperature, nutrients, light. We can control most of those, but we can't do much about temperature. We can dial down the food, and we can restrict the light. You can also address algae outbreaks with various chemical interventions or even UV radiation, which are these filters that just have a bright-ass bulb that fries anything that gets flowed through it. So, yeah, I had to get that. I'm not going to go on and on and on, but I used to deal with algae blooms, so I've been watching this story with the expertise of Matt Damon, when he watches spy movies and Roman archery guys. What do they call them? I lost the words. Why am I doing this? Horrible, horrible, horrible show. So yeah, it's been a bit of a slog. I have, in trademark form, not been functioning well. Honestly, last month or so, I'm starting to shift my whatever's wrong with me. It's never going to get not wrong, but lost a little bit of weight, been eating a bit more consistently. Right when I'm clicking into eating vegetables, a vegetable diarrhea virus takes over the nation. There's also like a tick on the East Coast right now that if it bites you, you become allergic to eating mammals. It's just like, fuck, man. My whale diet is going to go down if I get bit by that. What a nightmare society this is. So yeah, finishing the film, I could and probably will, and I probably shouldn't, but it's a lot of ADHD, autism, exhaustion, hyperfocus, monotropism, severe distraction. I've been switching from coffee to matcha. My mom just was like, I'm going to buy a matcha. I'm like, all right, well, okay. And so she said, and it actually has caffeine in it, but it seems to be doing better. And I'm drinking less coffee these days. And honestly, I don't think that was doing me a lot of good. I was going through quite a bit of coffee. So now I'm on my fourth jug of matcha today, and it's going good. It's a green powder that I guess is a Japanese tea. You do a ceremony, and I just take it like a thing. I guess people on Reddit were saying that for ADHD, it does actually help quite a bit. I actually did notice that. I did feel like it was doing me some good. So I'm trying. It's been so hard. I don't know how to explain it other than if you're autistic ADHD, you probably can kind of get your head around it. But man, I feel like I let people down when I'm not being consistent, and especially letting down myself for a lot of reasons, the past self and the future self that I am so desperately trying to make this world a safe place for. Yeah. So this film I've been working on, micro budget, interesting project. I think I can talk about it. I don't know why I shouldn't be able to, but you'll definitely hear a lot more about it if you don't hear about it right now. It's not like it's going to go out in big theaters. It's not one of those types of films. Maybe someday it'd be cool to work on that. I did actually learn an incredible amount, leveled up my editing skills. In fact, I wanted to share this with you a little bit before we jump into the news. I'm trying to move on from my personal ramblings so that we can kind of keep this thing moving. So actually, before we do that, just real quick, hold on, just bear with me. for personal rambling, if you liked watching video games or just hanging out with a fella, go over to Suck Professor, my gaming YouTube channel. This has a ton of videos. This is the one YouTube channel I've done better than any other. Although lately I wouldn't not it's been abandoned. But I've been posting gaming videos, me playing this game Valheim, and I'm actually going to be doing some different games in the not too distant future, depending on how much I can pull together. But this stuff doesn't weigh so heavy on me, and it's kind of I sort of can only justify playing games if I'm recording myself doing it for the internet. And so yeah, go check it out. I do ramble about ADHD and autism and other stuff, and I get depending on my mood. But we do a lot of base building. It's a colonization simulator basically. You just invade places and take stuff back to your castle and put up decorations, and then live in terrified, bald loneliness with numerous abandoned projects that are all creatively inspired and genuinely heartfelt from a honest ambition to express yourself. See, there you go. I moused over there, and then abandoned because due to boredom and difficult dopamine access and stuff. So it simulates my life. But it's a cool game. It's a cool game. I'm going to be playing Kingdom Come Deliverance soon. Maybe the Batman Lego game. Been very fortunate to get an upgraded computer, actually. That's been a nice bright spot this year. Did actually take up some weeks, which is something I'm doing to also support to create and work on. Haven't published it yet. Let me just load it up here as I'm talking. My other show, Pixel Mover. So this relates to the work I'm trying to do and the way I'm trying to set up my life for post-TYT documentary. This also will include the TYT documentary. Here, I'll just switch to the channel. That's easier. Yeah, so this is, I'm unemployable AF. There's no chance I can get I can beat the competition to get work somewhere. Maybe someone who knows me and sees me might. That's kind of why I'm doing it this way. But I don't even have a resume. My resume is mostly gaps. I am autistic and struggle with all kinds of other things. My wrists are fucked up. And I have a documentary called Tell the Truth, Former Employer, calling out a former employer for lying and union busting and other stuff. And so all that leads to a guy who can, if he can't stand on his own, he's probably never going to do well. So yeah, Pixel Mover here. Let me see if I can go to the part. I don't think YouTube wants me to just show the damn channel. Here we go. I think this will work. Let me check it. Yeah. So head on over to Pixel Mover. I think, one subscriber. I've mentioned it before. What I'm going to do with this is have guests on, and we're going to I want to use my skills. So I'm over 25 years editing in Adobe software, and I want to I have a lot of different sort of sub projects to do with this one. One of which is abandoning Adobe software because Adobe is a horrible company. They're completely unethical. The $12,000 plus that I've spent for Adobe isn't enough to earn me the access to the software I spent $12,000 getting. They won't even let me. I had to upgrade the computer. I lost Premiere Pro 2021. Can't download it. DaVinci charges, it's Blackmagic's the company, DaVinci's $295 for lifetime, and they have a nice little list of all the old versions, easy to get, easy to access, but the, and same with Photoshop, same with this other shit. And the newer software, although I'd say Premiere actually has run pretty well. I did use Premiere to do the work I did on Abby Martin's documentary last year, and it was solid. It was stable, but Adobe newer versions run worse on this better machine that I've got than the older versions, like 2023, ran on my older computer, which was a nice workhorse of a computer, but still like an aging 10-year-old computer. It just sucks. So DaVinci's taken over, and I want to make like tutorials about doing that, and maybe even another tutorial about moving over to Linux. But besides that, I want to have guests on, and I want to offer my motion graphics and animation skills, and we do something fun, silly. Maybe we draw a thing, and the idea is that it has to be funny because it can't be good is sort of my slogan for that sort of stuff. But also maybe it's someone with a YouTube channel and they need an intro graphic, or they need a sidebar, or they need a lower third, or they need a top third, or a middle third, or something with motion blur. Oh, wow. I can do that any way you want. I can, it'd be kind of cool. I sort of want to be of service to other shows and other channels and other people and have fun. I've done that like offline with people, and I always have a blast doing it. I like to do the teaching part of it as well as the kind of collaboration part of it. It's really fun to draw something in Photoshop when someone's sort of telling you what to do, you know, not that it's like it's precisely like use this brush, but it's like, oh, make those eyes sad. And I'll be like, oh, fuck yeah, I can do that. Hell yeah. So I want to make that a thing. And this also going to include some stuff about these projects I've been working on over the last 6-7 months. I should have been able to turn them around much faster than I did. But so I've recorded a ton of footage of it. I've also started reposting on my other YouTube channel, Shelf Life Aquariums, which, geez, I wasn't even... This is another one I abandoned a long time ago in real life Valheim here at Hank's house. Let's see. Sorry, Hank, bear with me. This was a fish tank thing, and kind of the inspiration for the Shrimp Squad, or at least the original home and the current home. So I'm going to start... I've posted these two videos of adding videos of the Shrimp Squad to like popular pop culture locations or screens or something like that, or maybe something weird and creative. I don't know. We'll see. Intended to be like screensavers or background characters, but also this is the output of a Pixel Mover episode. So for each one of these I'm going to do like here's how we do a masking tutorial to cut out the screen of this thing and then put the shrimp in there and then make a bunch of changes. Like you see this in this little shot here. I'll click on it. Ooh, isn't that satisfying? Is it getting the sound? Let me just confirm. Yes, it is. And then a nice noise. Wouldn't you like to fall asleep to that? Wouldn't you like to put right click on loop, and then just go nuts? Turn it down. Or here, we'll turn it all the way down. So that's a bunch of bubbles I mixed with the Star Trek hum. You know, you can get those 12-hour videos of Star Trek spaceships. Pretty awesome. Can't believe they got the spaceships to hold still that. Why did I try to joke? You see this little gizmo, this reflection? We did that manually in the Pixel Mover episode that I recorded for this. So that was reflective of this metal piece poking out right there. Apologies to the audio only listeners. This is a very visual part. So yeah, the notion, and this is sort of also intended to help me get more productive or to maintain productivity on the TYT documentary, because I did an update in January. And I was like, it's going to be like February, and I got some stuff to do. And on late February or March, I'm going to start real hard. And then I just couldn't pull it together. I have been having some tough times with my head tigers. My brain is a battleground, and I don't win every battle. Honestly, I'm really tired of it. It's so annoying. It never fucking ends. But I can do better, and I've been doing a little bit better. So this will help me. Making the process more complex by adding the camera and doing a thing and maybe making tutorials. I'm not going to do it. Will help me keep the focus and the energy I need to push forward on the TYT project. So I'm going to record some stuff where we're going to go through and clip the entire documentary that I have already, the 84 minutes, and I'm going to make cutouts of that to post on other social media sites like TikTok, and I don't even have an Instagram. I mean, I did, but I'm not trying there. But and then it'll then eventually lead into the documentary. So I'm hoping that this will help me, meaning I'll be doing a lot of the work for the documentary as episodes of Pixel Mover, with the hope that it teaches people stuff while also maybe getting some publicity or, you know, some attention on the documentary. I don't necessarily... I'll have to restrain myself from getting into like the kind of emotional umbrage slinging that I'm capable of during these, but that's kind of part of the point, is just to sort of, okay, today we have to fix this graphic. We're going to draw a new... I want to redraw the Skeletor's castle sequence that's in it. I use a shot of Skeletor's castle with all the bosses flying in and out of it as the rabble hums below under the shocking coercion balls that keep them in line, and it's just an old blurry clip from He-Man or something. I think that's what it is, right? And I want to redraw that. So there's a bunch of stuff like that. Perhaps it'll build an audience that way. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to take a lot of effort. I've still been a little reticent to pull the trigger fully, but now that this other film project is pretty much at this finishing point, still not quite there. We still have to drag this horse's corpse across the finish line, but it's very close. We're yanking on the tail, or I guess he'd grab the hooves. Wow, that's a grizzly. And this kind of liberates my engine to sort of align enough pistons to focus on doing stuff like this, thus me even doing this episode today. So thank you for watching, and I apologize for the delays and being slow. I have so much communication stuff I need to do to people that have donated some help. I'm so grateful for that, and there'll be some sort of credits thing too, so it's going to be tough because it's going to be still going to be a long slog. There will be some sort of credits. I just said that. But the next stage is shaking the rust off, then focusing on the fundraiser, which will include hopefully getting booked on other shows and going out there and talking and stuff. So, yeah. All right. Good. All that is to say, let's turn off our relaxing, bubbling Star Trek show. I actually think the bubbles are a bit distracting in terms of this, so I can change that around and focus on it. So most of the next other stuff I've recorded doesn't have the bubbles. Now, speaking of that, personal stuff, okay. I'll try to be quick. Oh, that's a giveaway. We're going to listen to Chuck Schumer fart. But before we get to there, just hold on. It's all worth it, isn't it? Genocide and capitalist destruction of the planet. But we get to hear the old man fart. All these fucking gas bag ancient demons running the country. So keep an eye on screen. We're going to change up some particles here. I wanted to just share a bit of what I been doing. You've seen this one. You've seen the blue. You've seen the ugly purple with the even uglier maroon, whatever the fuck I did with that for some reason. This one's okay too. These are just some of the old school ones. You've also maybe seen the dungeon wall. Here, let me turn off. Sorry. This will be, it's not even, God, it's totally not in the right, there we go. That's not even quite there, but you can size it for different spots. It's pretty big. You've seen this one. This is kind of my whole motif, the dungeon. Join the dungeon, patreon.com. So embarrassing that I even ask it, but yeah, so you've seen that one. This is a new one. I did cancel Adobe, and I managed to get back. I had to get back on to do some work for someone, which it's so frustrating when you've spent that much money and then they restrict the software that you can use. So this one's kind of fun. It's not perfect. I kind of don't like where the source point is of the things, but I do enjoy these little blue purple balls. Oh, who doesn't? That's kind of nice. This one's also great. The bouncy. You can give it a floor. Look at the red balls bounce. I think that's actually a bit distracting overall, and the pace could be a little bit slower. The whole point of it is that it enhances the video without drawing the viewer's attention. And I don't know, it depends on what you're using it for too. Of course, I really like the blue bits flying around. This one's actually especially slow. Is this the original one I had? I can't remember. Yeah. I don't have my face on screen right now. I'm sorry about that. So here's the fun stuff though. These particles that you make, let me do it this way here, actually. Oh, wrong one. Give me a sec. Click on the thing. Click on that thing. Turn off the frame. That one goes away. That one goes away. There we go. These particles are created. In fact, Da Vinci has a thing called star field, which is sort of particles, and I think there's other particle generators in it as well. Really complex, powerful program. But After Effects has a particle thing that I'd use to make these. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. But I was like, how do you get real particles? And I'm like, I have particles in the shrimp squad. Look over there. I'm trying to point on camera. Look over there. And the others, there's fucking particles floating around in water, which is exactly what we have. And I have a camera. So I recorded particles and then ran them through a bunch of blur shit and color changes and contrast and stuff. I did a full color correction for this film project, so like with proper 10-bit 4K footage, and I've got a whole new range of skills that I've added. So I'm hoping for maybe somebody can pay me for that someday, meaning like other films or other projects or something like that. Although I wouldn't dare call myself a pro colorist by any stretch, but man, I've really leveled up a lot. So now I just can record my own cool particle things. So now I'm kind of turning into a bit of a particle. What do you call it? Not an artisan, not a charcuterie. I don't know. There's a word I can't think of. I know there's a word. I don't know. I just made this one today, actually. This one's pretty cool. Let's see. I think I can. Yeah, I can. I'm scrubbing through it now. That's obviously. But look at that. That's kind of rad, isn't it? Oh, there goes one. I wasn't sure. That was accidental. I know that they're in there. They're hard to find because it's a 2-hour file almost. Yeah, it's a 2-hour file. That's great. I love this. I love them when they swim by. How relaxing to have a giant, horrible red beast. In fact, there's one in here, and this is one. I kind of messed up my vibe that I was going for because I want people to feel good watching this stuff. The shrimps sometimes this is going to be a very poo heavy show. As you can already tell, but it's going to get a lot worse. Starting now. I don't think we'll see it because I can't find it. But there's a shrimp that has a duke tailing behind it. They don't always detach right away. Like if your umbilical cord dangled for a few weeks after, down by your feet. That's what the shrimp do, but with their dukes. So yeah, there's one of these where I saw the shrimp swimming with its duke trailing behind it, and it's like the length of its body, if not longer. It made me feel proud because I have been feeding them more, and you do like to see that they're producing healthy outcomes from their outflow port. So yeah, this one's honestly a little bit on the busy side. I think I could change it up a little bit. Still has a nice feeling to it. It's amazing how much you can mess with this whole everything, little lens blurs, camera stuff. One more here. This one is oh, very cool. This is the bubbles. This is the exact same footage with a radial blur on it that causes these things, and it really just looks like a puddle flying. That looks pretty cool. And I spaced it by memory, kind of visually, to try to look how it's not centered to the blue line. So I'll have to re-export. It's a bit on the busy side, actually, but yeah, I got to move it slightly over on the x-axis, so that's okay. And then it will end up being something like this. So how cool is that, huh? Making particles, filming shit in aquariums. I'm doing a little yoga every morning to try to. I'm so rusty. I keep using the word rusty. I'm such a mess in the morning. I can barely function, man. I used to bounce out of bed, but it takes me forever these days. So fix wake up, you bastards. Your shift's not over. Don't sign in. I like those jobs where they have you come to work and prepare for the job because you have to do like setup but they don't want to pay you if you have to get ready to do the work. So that's part of the work. What are you talking about? So let's click on some other stuff and move on and get into it. So yeah, that is so great. I really like that one. I made that right before, so I'm just kind of admiring it here. Awesome. So hopefully Pixel Mover takes off. We'll see. Let's get into some Chuck Schumer diarrhea time. It's not, well, it probably is. I'm sure there was some speaking of particles. So Chuck Schumer appears to let out loud fart on Senate floor. I haven't heard this yet. I saved it for you. Now, this guy, as everyone knows, is one of the history's most horrible people. I'd honestly be happier when he dies than I was when Lindsey Graham died. I let out a little yelp of joy when I read that news. But when this fucker croaks, just a demon. The absolute greatest asset the GOP has, and it's not even close, is this piece of shit right here. And the next closest one is the Pelosi Jeffries Voltron of evil that has run the House of Representatives forever. They're all war criminals and they belong in prison along with the Trump administration officials too. Fucking disgusting people. So he's got a lot to say, and he's got like this. These fucking people need to get out of the society, man. It's so weird. It's so nuts. Anyway, we can enjoy what comes out of his asshole while he's at work.
Now on Iran and the NDAA. The American.
That was a squeezer. His desiccated mummy glutes were trying to hold that one in. Didn't seem to work real well. I love farts. They're so funny. We're all farting. We all have farts. Those are those couples that don't fart in front of each other. I saw some TikToks about that. It was like, so I get into the comments and read people, and it's like some people are like, yeah, I love my hubby or my spousey, but we don't fart in front of each other. And other people are like, what are you talking about? You got to fart. I mean, like, I think the one video was farting on like a first or second date. I think a little restraint is called for when you're just getting to know somebody, maybe a sexual situation where you don't need to be blasting that out. But if you've been at it for a while, it's not like they're not a human being with a fart generator. It's all just this disgusting gut shit that we do with our fart hole, which is the mouth I'm pointing at, or that's the pre-fart hole. You can't not fart. That's just a whole consequence of it. And as you age, I'm in my 40s. I struggle. That's partly why I'm doing hip mobility and squats and yoga and stuff. Is I want to be able to hold my farts in during sex if I ever have it again. But of course, when you're Chuck Schumer's age and you're a demon, the farts come flying out. Let's see what the rest of the video says.
American people need to know, of course, how and why this chaos is spreading through their streets. We need a complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When the Trump administration can...
I jumped over the fart. I'm sorry. Here, I'll back up a little.
When all the Trump administration...
trying to mimic it. Wow. That's great. Does he have a bird at home that does like a mimic bird? Okay, not good. Would you let your partner fart? Would you be cool with a farting spouse? I would be totally fine with it. I would even pay attention. Be like, well, they're getting worse this week, honey. We're gonna maybe we got to go have it checked out. Something going on. Your farts are getting. I think they're funny. They're funny. They can be disastrous, but they're hilarious. One of my favorite Kurt Vonnegut gags. Sorry to spoil this. This is from the Ice 9. Is that the name of the book? Galapagos Islands. Humanity evolves into these beach porpoises like a million years in the future. And then he paints a scene where they're like these fuzzy they have like furry hair, but they're like proto mammal or like on their way to becoming mammal or like ocean mammals basically. And they're like laying in the sun, and they've lost some of the intelligence that we're known for, quote unquote. And as he paints the scene, their beach is covered in farts, and then one of them lets one go, and they all just start laughing, but it ripples across. Like the laughter comes out from where the fart started to. It's just such a beautifully written, absurd, and wonderful image. Just imagine a bunch of human porpoise things chuckling away at someone's fart. It's so great.
Administration can say about his disastrous war with Iran is that Vietnam was worse. The point Trump made yesterday, he reveals the scale of his failure. This is what Donald Trump said. The only thing he can say is Vietnam was worse. Oh, my God. Now on Iran and the NDAA.
Okay,
the American
perfect.
People need to know, of course.
I nailed that, by the way. That came out. I didn't practice. I wasn't. That comes from the my earliest years of. Okay, why am I ruined it with the energy there? So, are you speaking of this? I'll try to be quick here. I was only going to do kind of the intros for these just to get a flavor. We've got a lot of little news clips picked out for Trump diarrhea spreading all over, caused by the lack of it's a parasite that it seems to like leafy vegetables or other veggies. We're not quite sure. This is causing severe economic problems because people don't want to eat stuff that gives them a terrible case of explosive diarrhea that lasts for months, if not longer. It's an incredibly uncomfortable and annoying thing to deal with. Watery farting, basically. Horrible. And, these sort of things exist in the world, and human beings have a technology called cooperation that can help mitigate. Like you can study it, track it, keep track of information, be responsible to a society. but that's not the world we live in. So they cut funding for the tracking of this because it's not new. It's this cyclosporiasis thing has been known for some time, but under I think it was the Doge cuts or it was RFK related. I don't quite know precisely. We're going to learn a little bit more about it coming up. But of course, now, as is the case, the bare minimum of government is not being met, and that means that we all get to risk getting diarrhea from having a salad. Aren't you excited to live in the greatest country of all? The first Nazi trillionaire, no, the first trillionaire Nazi. Actually, the first human trillionaire is a Nazi, which tells you an awful lot about the economic system we have. So, yeah, actually, let's switch the background here real quick. That's not the one. Let's do particles. Since we're talking fart, poopy particles, we want poopy, watery floating. Okay. So, of course, it's being covered, makes the news, sells a lot of oil-spilled soap for cleaning off ducts. Advertisers love it, even if it's terrible diarrhea. At least you can sell products across, against the media outlets. So I did sort of line these up by days in terms of time. So this goes back 7 days. Eyewitness News, ABC 7.
Tonight, a warning about a surge in cases of a stomach parasite linked to produce.
The CDC is monitoring cases in at least 18 states, and that includes hundreds of cases in the tri-state.
Eyewitness News anchor Sandra Bookman shows you ways to reduce your risk of getting sick.
Ooh.
It's not a new threat. In fact, experts say a parasite called Cyclospora tends to contaminate raw fruits and veggies every summer, causing people across several states to have long-lasting bouts of illness.
They invade the intestine, causing diarrhea, which can be watery, cause abdominal cramps.
Chunky, dry, moldy, fibrous. Sorry. What's this one here? Next up, Fox 49 Tallahassee.
It's not a new threat. In fact, experts say a parasite called Cyclospora tends to contaminate raw fruits and veggies every summer. And right now, it's causing people across several states to have long-lasting bouts of illness.
What the fuck? Is this the same? Jesus, and it's in the wrong ear. It's like it's on stereo track, but they didn't fill the... Okay, all right, well, let's keep going here. That's 5 days into the... Another video that aired 5 days ago, Health Watch, Fox 9.
Wash your hands and
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
wash your produce. That is the warning from doctors as a foodborne illness spreads across the country. Cases now found in dozens of states. And in Atlanta, Fox's Jonathan Siri has the latest.
A foodborne parasitic infection rapidly spreading across the Midwest and eastern U.S. is catching the attention of federal health officials.
This is a huge outbreak in Michigan, across Illinois, Ohio, and into upstate New York. That's where the belt...
A cloud of Duke floats away behind him.
...of this is.
The CDC has confirmed infections in 31 states, while the...
Okay, great. Let's keep going. That's 5 days. 4 days. ABC 7 News Bay Area.
Cases of a parasitic intestinal illness continues to rise across the U.S. Here's a map from the CDC showing you cyclosporiasis in at least...
And you see, you can't trust the CDC. It's completely not something we should have any faith in as he's delivering. Its mission is to not deliver what we generally assume we should be getting from a government that has the kind of resources our government should have and does have. They don't have it. They have the resources to go to rounding up brown people, murdering them in the streets, and just, you know, trying to impose this white ethno-state fucking nightmare society that these, you know, these loser freaks that control our government want, and assisted with the help of the completely feckless loser Democrats. So anyway, here's the map from the CDC.
31 states now. According to this, there are 1 to 10 cases in California, but even the CDC says case counts are likely much higher than what's actually reflected here. Mm-hmm. And as Perry Russum reports, the source of the outbreak is unknown.
Unknown.
The race is on to find the source of a cyclosporiasis outbreak. In Michigan alone, health officials say there have been more than 1,500 cases. Oh. That's up from 300 cases.
Skin cells from Donald Trump. Ooh.
Just about a week ago. Officials say it's possible the increase is due to better awareness and tracking of the illness.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Yes, that's the officials. This was caused because we're better at our jobs than before. That's what's happening. Officials say it's because it's better tracking. That's such a fucking joke. What a that's just insane. I mean, such a thing is plausible in a system, but in the case of this society where they've trimmed down all the staff and they're trying to look into curing autism, and some headline, I didn't really get deep into it, but RFK Jr. wanted to spend $5 billion trying to find the source for something. It's just fucking bonkers, man. Give autism people the money, okay? Could use a new PlayStation. No, I don't want to buy. I would buy rent. I would buy debt. I would pay debt. Okay, more. CNN, the big dogs, 218K views one day ago.
Health officials saying the outbreak caused by the parasitic Cyclospora has now sickened more than 3,000 people in Michigan and Ohio.
Oh, shit.
Michigan's chief medical executive, whom I'll be speaking with in just a moment, says that early information suggests that lettuce or salad greens may be the source. CNN's Jacqueline Howard reports.
All right. Is that guy Jacqueline Howard? Like, what the?
Health officials in Michigan say that they are zeroing in on lettuce or salad greens as a potential source of the outbreak of Cyclospora cases that they're seeing in their state. Now,
okay, thank you. I will definitely not eat salad. This one is Pix 11 News. I don't know what news company, but let's see what this guy's got.
And hello to you, Shirley. And listen, folks.
Shirley.
Especially some of you sensitive viewers, let's point out we are talking about some pretty sensitive stuff here that revolves around cyclosporiasis. Yes, it is a mouthful to say. And speaking of mouthful, you do acquire it by consuming what are normally healthy foods. And that has a variety.
Unfortunately, the cure for it is diarrhea. So, fight fire with fire, they say.
Of people frustrated and concerned.
It seems to be breaking out in a lot of places.
What if she farted, but it threw her out of the frame like a sudden spring, like a rocket jump?
Right.
Diane Lorber.
And then she would land and have severe injuries.
Along with every person we encountered, is talking about cyclosporiasis.
Great society.
The disease caused by
let's go down to the farmer's market so we could talk about diarrhea. What do you know? What do you know, Cheryl? What are you getting the diarrhea? Not more than usual. Oh, I guess we'll have to wash this. Maybe if we give our preacher more money, we'll avoid the diarrhea. Oh, the Democrats gave us diarrhea. It's the Wuhan diarrhea. This fucking society.
Parasite Cyclospora that can make people very sick.
I'm annoyed at Cyclospora.
Sorry, okay.
Cyclospora is contaminating the most healthful, delicious, seasonal foods they are.
Dr. Bruce Hirsch, an infectious disease expert at Northwell Health, talks about how the parasite is typically found on fresh fruits and vegetables that have come into contact with human feces. He points out that your chance of getting sick from the parasite is low.
Most people who have Cyclospora might not even know it. The people who get the worst cases are the very young, the very old, and people whose immune systems are weakened.
But
hell yeah. Glad that doesn't affect me. I'm not affected. I am, actually. I wouldn't say I'm very young or very old, but I definitely don't have a great immune system. Okay. CBS LA, 1,936 views.
An intestinal illness outbreak is expanding to more states, with nearly 7,000 people in 34 states reporting symptoms and dozens in the hospital.
Well, here in California, while there are cases, state health officials say there are no known local outbreaks. CBS LA's Julian Signaris live.
This is 20 hours ago, by the way.
Valley Village, with why health officials say Californians don't have much to.
What if that guy was reporting from my room and he's over there and he's just like, a man is making fart noises into his camera. We have found the source of the diarrhea.
Worry about, Gio.
That's right, Juan, Susie, good evening to you both. It's called cyclosporiasis, a bit of a tongue twister, that one, but as you mentioned, there are cases...
Bit of a bung twister, if you know what I'm saying.
This is nationwide, and cases here in California as well, but health officials and others very much warning a lot of people right now here in this state, no need to throw away your produce and no need to freak out.
Okay.
Cyclosporiasis is an intestinal illness that's caused by Cyclospora, which is a parasite. It's a teeny little parasite.
Cyclosporiasis spreads through contaminated food or water, not
So
from...
before you flush your poops, wash it, okay? Make sure that your parasites are killed off before you send it down. All right, so 18 hours ago, ABC 10 News.
By now, you've probably heard of Cyclospora, or it's nicknamed the diarrhea
The Trump diarrhea.
parasite. While
Wait, did she say its nickname is the diarrhea parasite? Come on, we can do better than that. Squeezy.
nicknamed the diarrhea parasite, while the symptoms...
I want someone to say explosive. That's the whole point. That's what's fun about it. It's explosive. It's not even thrusting. We use the word explosion. It doesn't come out in a stream like that thing that, you know, on your garden hose. It does the out spray, the full wide one. Or maybe it does do a stream. You know, we're all built a little bit differently.
Symptoms sound scary. One health expert says there's no reason to panic. After speaking with the UCSD Health Program Director of Infectious Prevention, ABC 10 News anchor Max Goldwasser explains how people are getting sick and what you can do to spare yourself.
Sweet.
The diarrhea parasite.
Nice guy.
Yeah. With a nickname like that, there's no surprise this foodborne outbreak is exploding all over the internet.
It's exploding. It is. Good job there, guy. ABC 10 News.
While tracking it can be pretty complicated, preventing it is fairly simple.
This isn't normally the kind of story that comes with a viewer discretion warning, but I'm going to give you one anyway. Here's Dr. Francesca Toriani describing the symptoms.
Really watery, explosive diarrhea. There can also be some nausea, some vomiting, and then some low-grade fever.
The big porcelain problem is caused by a tiny parasite called Cyclospora. Now, the good news, it's not contagious.
People become infected.
Well, I mean, you know, depends on what you're into. It might be contagious. You know what I mean? There. Sorry. All right. Sorry. All right. Okay.
By ingesting either contaminated.
I mean, accidentally, that stuff can get in there. You know, or you can go there on purpose. But yeah, I don't mean the worst kind. I don't mean scat. Boy, this algorithm is. After, by the way, looking all these up now, YouTube is going to think that I'm like really into diarrhea. I'm a big diarrhea guy here. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. That's like a whole another category of stuff. But you know, that is a region. Let's be honest. Not everybody has the cleaning efficiency of, you know, the oil spill duck soap.
Food, which is in general vegetables or fruits, or drinking contaminated water.
Toriani is the
great times for salad B-roll, by the way. Certainly boom times for that. The Hill, a little off the TV news show. 12 hours ago, 2,696 views.
Officials are continuing to investigate the outbreak of cyclosporiasis in 34 states. The parasite can cause days or weeks of diarrhea and nausea.
As of yesterday, the CDC confirmed more than 1,600 cases across the country, but they say they are aware of more than 5,000 cases.
But it might be because they're better at testing. That's what we're saying.
For the latest on the cyclosporiasis outbreak and what you need to know, we are joined by Dr. Florencia Segura, a Northern Virginia pediatrician.
She's been ready for this her whole life. Ready to just get on TV and make a big splash.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Doc.
Morning.
What do people need to know? If people are out there consuming products, thinking about their children, what do they need to be thinking about?
I do both those things.
So number one, Cyclospora is a parasite. It's not a virus and it's not a worm. Number two, this is not spread person to person.
It's not a bird. It's not a reptile. It's not a duck.
This is a foodborne illness, meaning if you're exposed to contaminated fruits, vegetables, and sometimes water, this is how you get this. And actually now we know from Michigan officials 2 days ago that the primary culprit is actually lettuce and mixed greens.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right. Bags of lettuce.
And number three, there is a treatment for it, which is very important, and we need to test for it. And four, the hallmark of this is watery, explosive diarrhea, along with all those other symptoms of nausea and fatigue and, you know, dehydration and everything that comes in, that relapses.
It's extraordinarily unpleasant.
Yes.
If you are
Kind of like my podcast.
older or in an immunocompromised group, I guess it could be worse or take longer to recover from.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right, Carol. Osteoporosis and bone degradation and hip tightening. I'm big on hip mobility, guys, by the way. They of the older people makes diarrhea an even more challenging thing to overcome, unlike the youthful durability, what's the word? People in their 20s can bounce back from injuries much faster, including the injury of months of explosive watery diarrhea.
Absolutely. So the groups that we are most worried about are those immunocompromised, pregnant women, children, small children, older folks, and any individuals that have chronic medical conditions.
And hilarious Americans, of which I identify into that group. So, not just on YouTube, Chicago Tonight on PBS. What do you got?
Public health officials across the country are working to identify the cause of an outbreak of cyclosporiasis. The parasitic infection is hitting more than half the states in the U.S., including Illinois, harder than in previous years. The Illinois Department of Public Health says that as of today, they've identified over 200 probable cases of cyclosporiasis in the state. Joining us now with more on the outbreak and what you can do is Dr. Emily Landon, Executive Medical Director for Infection Prevention and Control at UChicago Medicine. Dr. Landon, welcome back to the program. I'd like to start off fairly simply just asking, what exactly is cyclosporiasis?
Well, Cyclosporia cayetanensis is actually
Cayetanensis. I like that she gave us the whole genus species. Is that the right? Good.
Parasite pathogen. It's a microscopic, and it thrives in warm, wet.
It's the size of a dime. You can feel them scratching at your skin from the inside if you get it. God damn. So it's small. Parasite is one of those words that goes, ugh, but think of all the crap you're eating restaurant food over your life, and we've all had ingested funky fuck from people's hands, and there's no way you haven't.
Weather, which is exactly what we've been seeing all over the Midwest recently. And it often contaminates foods, especially produce that's grown in the ground, where it can come from animal feces or contamination from other water sources. And then those foods, when people ingest them, they can develop diarrhea that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what are the main...
I guess if you think about it, the diarrhea is a sign of the system working, right? It's kind of like vomiting, but out your other mouth, out your bottom mouth.
Symptoms, and how severe can those symptoms be?
Very.
So I think
you'll live on the toilet. You'll be weeks on the toilet. You'll have to have a 5-gallon bucket with a spout at the bottom surgically attached to your ass in order to survive this. And it'll have Trump's face on it.
Hearing a lot of things on social media about explosive diarrhea. And
Explosive.
that's not wrong. There is a lot of watery diarrhea involved.
I want high pressure. I want to start one of those YouTube channels where they pressure wash decks, but I could do it with my butthole. That sounds awesome. I think I would love that. Those the dude goes around and does like lawn care. Very popular.
Cyclosporiasis, and patients can unfortunately continue to have those symptoms sort of off and on. We call it remitting and relapsing. So they come and go for upwards of almost 2 months without treatment.
Oh, shit.
Now, there aren't a lot of other major problems. There's some cramping, bloating, just abdominal discomfort.
Baby demons crawling out your rectum at the strike of noon when the moonlight hits the meadow glade in just the right way to awaken the spirits.
Sometimes people are a little nauseated, but most patients just have those symptoms, which are bad and disruptive to your life, but they're usually not life-threatening.
You can die from diarrhea. That is a bad way to go. I think that Jen would probably mean you also have something else, comorbid with the killer diarrhea that you might have. But it can, dehydration, right? Or just agony. I don't know.
People do get such bad diarrhea, especially if you have other medical problems, you're very young or very old, that might land you in the hospital getting fluids for dehydration.
Imagine going into medical debt because of your diarrhea. That's what this country will do to you. You'll become homeless because you had bad diarrhea. Great country.
But the vast majority of people will recover from this infection on their own.
You mentioned the potential sources of this parasite. How can people avoid contracting this infection?
Eat ice cream.
Yeah, what a tricky situation. So there are cases of cyclosporiasis every summer all over the country. And you can get it when you're traveling abroad in places where the weather is warm and wet and you eat produce. And it's also, there seems to be a much bigger than usual number of cases this year. Now, the CDC is reporting, and some state health departments are reporting, an outbreak that's probably all the cases are related, that is taking place in Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. That's what they've decided today. But there are excess cases in a lot of states. In total, I think there are more than 30 states reporting cases.
And everybody who listens to this podcast will get it within 7 days, by the way. So thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. WCPO 9. 11 hours ago, 702 views.
Well, new this morning, the CDC says it has linked an outbreak of infections from that parasite that's creating that awful stomach bug in Michigan, Ohio,
I'd call it a rectum bug. Come on, buddy.
Kentucky, and West Virginia. They've linked them to a common source here this morning. More than 3,300 cases are being reported out of Michigan. That is a huge number. In Ohio, there are nearly 400 reported cases, 16 of which are right here in Hamilton County. Now, in Michigan, the officials say that lettuce and salads more than likely are behind this outbreak. They can't rule out other sources like berries, though, just yet. The symptoms mirror.
Indeed not. Indeed. The dingleberry something. There's a joke in there somewhere. So, what, as you know already, and I've been saying it, I didn't watch all these through, but I do kind of doubt that they get into the funding cuts that contributed to this, because that could be construed as political. That could be, but it should be mentioned that the government failed to at least notify people further ahead of time and to take interventionary measures. You might still get a small batch, might still get a tiny outbreak, but a little bit of diarrhea is better than a lot of diarrhea. Okay, words to live by. Very wise. Very common sense wisdom is what I'm saying. We all like less diarrhea. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world anymore. Let's hear a little more.
For those suffering from heat illness, which could be confusing with the heat we're experiencing, I spoke to State of Ohio Medical Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff, who says there is one distinct difference.
Dr. Hershey Squirt coming up next.
Between the two.
This is going to be
bow tie,
diarrhea, maybe like food poisoning, but that just doesn't seem to want to go away.
Is there anything we can do to prevent it?
Washing all fresh fruits.
Shower with your groceries. I never stopped since COVID, so that's probably why I haven't gotten it.
Vegetables under running water.
Look at that shot. What a porno shot. It's lettuce in someone's hand being splashed. Looks like romaine. I don't know. Is that I don't know. There's different, but it's real slow motion-y. I'm going to mute it too, just so we can look at it. Slow motion. Wow, wow, wow. They're kind of shaking it. We got a high frame rate, slow. That's funny. Unmute.
Water, but under running water.
Okay.
And include in that, by the way, scrubbing things like melons.
There's slow motion. Someone with blue gloves rubbing a melon. That looks like to be watermelon.
Because we forget about that. You got to wash the outside of those before you go cutting into them.
That's the worst cutting job of a watermelon. What the absolute backup frame. Look at that. Well, I guess it's the tip of one of them fell off. Sometimes watermelon does kind of crumble apart. Never mind. It's just awkwardly held there with the knife, I guess. But that's okay. Yeah, it came up. Okay. I withdraw my earlier statement, Your Honor.
Into them.
Maybe I'm not just that smart, but the whole running water thing makes sense, because if not, they're just sitting in the parasites in the bowl.
I mean, yeah, you think about it. You should wash away the parasites. I guess we're so glad that we have this incredible resource here to keep people safe. Don't want to be sitting in parasites.
Yeah.
As they're showing Taco Bell. Taco Bell's apparently gotten some of it going on. But I'm not going to get no damn lettuce. I'm not going to get Chipotle burrito bowl, if I could even afford that anyway. I got some broccoli. Actually, I do have a cabbage that I'm going to microwave, but I'm microwaving my food. I'm microwaving my meals.
And this morning, federal and state officials are investigating whether Taco Bell could actually be the potential link between the recent outbreaks.
Drop the chalupa, says the sign on this shot of the Taco Bell. Okay, well, good. That's fun. I'm sure Taco Bell's having a blast, and they're cackling over there at Del Taco and El Pollo Loco headquarters, where, of course, there's no risk of diarrhea, unlike Taco Bell / Pizza Hut combo restaurants. So there has been a little bit of reporting. I did find one that says it. Again, maybe some of those other ones were mentioning it, but it does seem to be a dearth of information or of reporting, at least on these sort of mainstream kind of local news outlets. The internet, of course, we love to point out the failures of the government, and this should be the kind of thing that everyone is upset about. This stuff is not that complicated to track and study. In other words, it is complicated, but it's fairly routine to just sort of have experts who are scientists. Doesn't have to be for-profit losers trying to make money. We have all kinds of things that need to be done for the human collective that don't have to involve some rich sociopath making a profit off of it. But we got to cut that down. It's too political. Okay, here we go. This is one of those mentions. We're almost done. We're almost done, guys. By the way, you can get off the toilet in a second.
Last July, cuts were made to the Foodborne Diseases Active Surveillance Network, or FoodNet. The federal program now only tracks 2 pathogens instead of 8. One of the pathogens no longer tracks Cyclospora, the parasite causing
We don't need to track the Cyclospora. I'm not even sure if it's his decision, but.
Is the lack of information on a possible source for the outbreak frustrating on a local level?
Well, I'm sure it's frustrating to folks who are sick, and frustrating to folks who wish they had more certainty about what to eat.
The Michigan Health Department is pointing to packaged lettuce or salad greens as the problem, but says other produce can't be ruled out.
How do they find those folks? There's these people in their kitchen.
Salad greens as
just normal. They're making dinner. It's a lady reaching into where do you? It's a little package of. But they had to send a camera person to these people's house and film them doing stuff in their kitchen. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard, I guess. You just walked around and asked people, I'm from the news. Can we film you with some vegetables in your kitchen? But look how quick it is on screen.
Problem, but said
they got a little rooster up on top of the fridge. Classic. I like it.
Other produce can't be.
He's washing broccoli or cucumber. I do wash my cucumbers. I know they make veggie soap, but I just use the oil spill duck soap that I have. Just rinse it real good. I don't like it when it has a weird feeling to it, and then just giving it and then I actually cut the most of the thing off.
Ruled out. Dr. William Nettleton with the Kalamazoo County Health and Human Services Department says there is oftentimes a 2-day to 2-week window between when someone gets sick to when they experience symptoms, making it harder for clinicians to narrow down where they got it from.
So it's really hard for someone to remember, hey, what did I have to eat 10 days ago?
That's a good point. That's why you should only eat fajita supremes from Applebee's.
So that's the first complication. Cyclospora is a parasite. So it's very difficult and really cannot culture or grow in the lab. And difficult.
Its IPO is expected to raise $400 billion by next week, and it's going to come out of your 401k. So finally, it's already playing. The news does a good job, but nobody does better than The View, okay? Because they have The View. So let's see here. I haven't actually watched this yet. I'm trying to back it up. Of course, the legendary Whoopi Goldberg is on screen. I know her near and dear to my heart as Guinan, who battles Q. She's the only other being in the universe capable of putting up a resistance to such a powerful, omnipotent being. And she's a bartender, and she's very wise, kind of mysterious too as well. Real ones know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're confused, then I'm sorry that you never got to enjoy the wondrous magic of Guinan, the bartender. Anyway, okay. What do you got to say, Whoopi?
There is a foodborne parasite named Randy, and it's rapidly spreading.
Can't keep the comedian down.
I have to name these things. I have to name these things in order to look at them sincerely. But it is rapidly spreading nationwide.
She's lost 3 food tasters already to this. She's very rich.
There's a scramble to get it under control, and the questions about what foods we need to avoid. So here's what we know so far. Take a look.
Okay.
Cyclosporiasis are now detected in more than half the
She's doing what I'm doing. She's showing news clips. Come on, Whoopi, get your own material. It's not like this.
It's here in the U.S., and experts say the numbers are likely even higher than that. The CDC says the parasite usually spreads through contaminated water or food. So outbreaks in the past have involved fresh produce, such as raspberries, basil, snow peas, certain lettuces, and cilantro. The most common
diarrhea fruit.
Symptom here, sorry to tell you, severe diarrhea. Yeah, it could also include nausea,
I
vomiting.
like that you hear somebody make a go, whoa, just from talking about it. Obviously, I have a comfort level with this kind of language. Again, maybe wouldn't be great for a first date. Although, honestly, if this came up on a first date and we got along, we had a nice diarrhea chat, would be perfectly fine with me. You know, I would also be okay with moving on, particularly once the chocolate sundaes show up.
Abdominal pain and bloating. And the CDC says the best way to avoid infection.
Honestly, I think diarrhea is better than nausea. Nausea sucks. It just fucks everything up. You can't do shit with that. All these are terrible. Bloating, I already got that. You know, I'm already kind of bloated. Yeah.
Is to thoroughly wash your fruits and vegetables, cutting away bruised or damaged parts, and then promptly refrigerating anything left over. Cooking your produce is also an effective way to avoid getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, and the CDC says it is working.
She's even doing some probably sanitizer, I guess, there. She's rubbing her hands.
Working closely with states on containing this outbreak. But some are blaming massive cuts to the CDC.
Yes.
For putting us in this mess yet again. And the question is, how concerned are you? I'm just trying to remember how to wash my hands.
I'm very concerned about it because people have been hospitalized for it, dehydrated, and one of the hallmarks of it is explosive diarrhea, not just severe diarrhea. So it's so gross and disgusting.
And back up.
Explosive diarrhea. Hospitalized for it, dehydrated, and one of the hallmarks of it is explosive diarrhea, not just severe diarrhea. So it's so gross and disgusting. And my concern is,
you're driving your convertible and all of a sudden you've ejected like a fighter pilot. It sucks. You got to go buy a new convertible.
That's what happened. There was a federal, federal health official.
I like the audience. We're talking about poopy butts.
Officials last year scaled back the foodborne diseases active surveillance network that federally watched out for
parasites. We got to send sniper bullets to Israel. We can't track parasitic diarrhea bug thing, but in America, we got a priority here.
Like this one. And so now it's spread to 30 states and it's being monitored state by state, but there isn't the type of regular coordination that you would get if the federal government were doing it.
Well, there were 100 people were watching before. Now there's maybe 5.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
example is the CDC, the national CDC, is reporting about 843 cases, but Michigan alone is reporting 2,600. So the states are not coordinating well enough with the federal government. And I just have to say, I had norovirus when I was 7 months pregnant. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
I had norovirus as well.
Wash your hands, wash your food,
and it's
hide your kids, hide your wife.
But they say that they don't have the money, but they have $600 million for Trump's ballroom.
Yeah.
No,
of course he doesn't care because he never ate a salad in his life.
Got him. They put lettuce on Filet-O-Fish, don't they? Isn't there a couple of wilted slivers of lettuce? Nailed it. I wonder, does Whoopi and Joy and Whoopi are both stand-ups, right? I mean, they're like millionaire celebrity people. They're sort of a whole different thing. But I wonder if they get competitive with the jokes because Joy got the biggest laugh there for sure. What did she just say anyway? He never ate a whole salad in his whole life.
He never ate a salad.
And Whoopi's called it Randy. That didn't work, you know.
In his life.
Nailed it.
They also are.
Woo!
They're also always expanding the budget for defenses, like our military and our weapons, but it's a bit of a blind spot that these types of diseases, when you reduce it, can also attack us. We just came out of a pandemic as recently as 2020.
I feel unsafe.
Well, we're like 1/17 into the pandemic. It's not. Don't kid yourself.
I do. I feel like the people in these positions are not watching out for us.
Well, I have to tell you something that I think I've discovered. While there are all these figureheads, there are actual real people who are in charge, who are doing what needs to be done. The problem is they just keep cutting them back.
The money.
So there's no, the people that would be doing this normally are not there. So you know what you all have to do in November.
No! Did that peak? I don't know. I heard like a scratch in my ears. My own voice did that. She's not wrong, but that is this very kind of like liberal rah passion is like, don't worry, we'll vote them out. And I'm not someone who is poo-poos electoralism. I actually think there's quite a bit of positives that can come out of it, as well as it's just one of many levers that we should be pulling on. You know, people criticize it when they think it's the only thing you do, and they want people to just consider themselves in having agency in their democracy by voting once every 4 or 2 years or something, and then, you know, go off and get diarrhea and wait another 4 years so you can vote out the diarrhea kings. Not that she's doing this like to, you know, I'm on her side with this whole story here. We do got to vote these fucking people out. But the spirit of this culture has to change, where we need to look out for each other, and we need to make the government a integral part of collective human safety, not a vehicle through which corporations and billionaires, you know, mediate their, you know, worst appetites for labor, for exploitation, for your children, for your bodies, for your money, for your retirement, for your entire fucking life, for all the time that you have on this diarrhea ball of a planet. By the way, I will make a case here. I would normally say this about trees and wood, but diarrhea, more rare than diamonds. I said it. There's only one place in the universe that makes trees, Earth. Same with diarrhea. But they've found diamonds all over the goddamn universe because it's carbon. High pressure creates diamonds, and there's carbon all over the universe. So there's all sorts of theories, and like I think there's observational evidence. I'm not quite sure precisely, but there's a lot of diamond. Diamonds not that rare. Diamonds are just a really cool thing that carbon does at high pressures. But Earth, there's just one place where we have diarrhea. And if you believe that documentary, The Martian, okay, there's also poop on Mars. All right. By the way, I saw Project Hail Mary. Loved it. See it. Definitely.
One quick thing is the CDC director nominee, Erica Schwartz, is set for tomorrow, her Senate confirmation hearing. She's a doctor, so she's
highly qualified.
She's highly qualified.
Looks like Stargate SG-1 character there, huh? That's awesome. Look at that lady. She'll kick your ass.
She's a doctor, so
I like how the female military formal, they have this like, I'm trying to get YouTube to go away, this little necktie thing that's just like this like little flaps. I've seen that. That's only the female military like formal clothing is. I've noticed. The men wear bow ties and they spin. They go whoop 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 whoop.
She's highly qualified.
She's highly qualified. Please watch that because we need her in that spot.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. You know, maybe changes are happening. Good things may be coming because people are scared of y'all.
It only took explosive diarrhea.
That's all it took.
Yes.
Explosive.
And the fear that the people are not going to lay down much longer.
Well,
there is a.
I mean, if this continues, we're going to lay down forever because of the diarrhea that we can't avoid. So thanks, Whoopi. Thanks, local news shows and casters all over the world and country. Hopefully we don't give our World Cup friends the diarrhea either, and they all take it back to their states and all die. The whole planet just is going to die of Trump diarrhea. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah, so real quick, this is fun. We also have Marsha Blackburn coming up here. That's the lady that did the very racist Chinese fortune cookie crushing ad that has been going around, and I looked up another video of hers too. Turns out she's hated China this whole time. The bigotry is very old. But Marjorie Taylor Greene co-hosted the Young Turks recently. If you don't, I don't know. It's very unlikely no one here knows I worked there and had to start a union there for reasons that are detailed in the documentary I'm making about starting the union there and the union busting. So I have a deep connection to the Young Turks, obviously, one that I'm sure Cenk wishes never happened. But nevertheless, I clipped this out from one of the live shows. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who quit Congress like a day or two after her pension vested, which is to say she had to reach a certain minimum time in office, and then once you retired, then you do get your pension or your lifelong payout. And I think it's only something like, I've heard 14,000, I've heard 17,000. So it's under 20,000, which isn't a crazy amount, but it is a lot of money. If I could land some job that I don't have to go to anymore, but it pays me 15,000 a year for the rest of my life, with probably has little bumps, I'll take it. And she's worth like 25 million or something. I don't know the precise numbers, but I know she was only worth several million when she went in, and then she's worth tens of millions after some terms or 3 terms or something, which comes up because she tries to make it seem like it's a reason that she got out. So she was asked about why she quit. Now, of course, she wasn't asked by Cenk. In fact, that's what we'll watch at the beginning here is Cenk's sudden surprise. You could almost, I mean, he did ask the question. He didn't just toss it. So I guess you could say credit for that. But there's no way in hell this was going to come up unless it was this comment. And he's reading this one blind. Now, he normally doesn't. He'll usually say, I'm reading these blind if he is, to let you know that it could be unexpected or something like that. Not sure what he is. I wish more people would write in and ask him about the union, because the whole point of the film I'm making is that the company lied about why the union started. They said outsiders started the union. In fact, no, it was me and my friends to stop exploitative working practice or employment practices. So yeah, this is pretty funny. Let's size it up a bit better here for y'all. How about that? That's fine. Let's go.
Mad Chemist, so tired of hearing, oh, look at this. Okay, well, this is what happens when you read comments blind.
Oh, shit. I have to do an actual moment of journalism here and speak some sort of truth or questioning to a powerful person. Fuck, this might risk my relationship with this lady who harassed a school shooting victim after he was nearly murdered in one of the most violent school shootings of American history. Oh my God, she's this bigot white supremacist who's co-hosting the home of progressives now. Oh no! But at least he continued to do it though.
So tired of hearing from.
Let's back up just a bit we'll go back to the pause.
Oh, look at this. Okay, well, this is what happens when you read comments blind. So tired of hearing from MTG, that's our guest host today. You quit, you left Congress while telling everyone else to fight Trump. Shut up and stay out of politics. Quitter, they say. Thanks for taking my tax dollars for nothing.
Spacebar, sorry. Spacebar moves okay. Shut up and quit politics, you quitter. I wrote it up here in the tweet that I put. Shut up and stay out of politics, quitter. Look how fast he reads it, though. He definitely wants to muscle through it.
They say, thanks for taking my tax dollars for nothing. Marjorie.
It's a great comment, though. Thanks for taking my tax dollars for nothing. That pension, that big wage, all that insider trading.
Trump, shut up and stay out of politics. Quitter, they say, thanks for taking my tax dollars for nothing. Marjorie, real quick, 25 seconds here, but can you address that?
Well, yes, Trump called me a traitor, and then there were death threats on my son's life. And then the president texted me that I deserved it and it was my fault. And I dedicated millions of dollars and help to the Republican Party, and not a single elected Republican defended me from the president's attacks. And so I would say to that person that made that.
So they cut it. That was a social break. There's a timer, and it's actually on screen, the timer. So I added this edit, and I had to trim it up to make it under 220 so that Twitter would accept it. That's the limit for videos if you're not a paying person. Trump called her a traitor and then confirmed the death threats that he said she deserved, and no Republican backed her up on that. Did she not understand how this country functions, especially the Republican Party, that they're a bunch of loyalists, that their entire operating ethos of their hierarchy is loyalty? They are submissive cucks to the daddy, to the guy at the top, the same guy you put in, the same guy you advocate, you campaigned for. Like she said, she's brought in millions of dollars. She's a pretty high profile Republican. But no. And then they didn't back her up from the Trump. Like they were going to pick her over Trump. Is she out of her mind? So she quits and becomes a podcaster. So then they do a little music thing, and then Cenk comes back.
Back on Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, Marjorie Taylor Greene co-hosting with me.
Cenk Uygur and Marjorie Greene host a show now. Not co-hosting, but that's weird. She doesn't present stories. She just weighs in. Just call her a guest. That just sounds a little bit better. That's just goofy. I don't know.
Today, I want to let her finish her thought from the interaction we were having in a second.
So then he does a plug for a bunch of shit. So there's another edit.
Marjorie, during the commercial breaks, we interact with the members if they're on the member stream, and another benefit of membership.
But it's basically apologizing for having asked her a question that might make her slightly uncomfortable. She's rich and powerful. We can't do. There's a comfort supremacy. This country. That's the foundation of the supremacy of it all.
Somebody had addressed you quitting, and they were mad that you quit Congress. You explained why Trump attacking you and other Republicans backing you.
And she didn't retire after her term ended. She quit. She ditched. She said, I'm waiting until I get, she didn't say this, but she waited till her pension vested, and then she bounced. fucking quitter. And she's often been described, like I've seen on TYT, who Anna Kasparian particularly has said this, and I'm sure Cenk would echo this sentiment, is that she destroyed her career. She bravely sacrificed to stand up for her principles or some bullshit. No, she didn't. She quit, absconded, abdicated her responsibilities and the power that she was granted by her position. Being a United States congressperson is very powerful, relative to most of us, and high-profile media position, all blah, blah, blah. And she did all that. She quit all that so that she could protect her career, because she's got further ambitions. She's definitely going to angle for some sort of third-party possible thing, or some sort of alliance between the Anna Kasparian conservatives versus the Dave Rubin conservatives. I think they're positioning themselves to do some sort of Tucker Carlson Foundation type party thing, maybe. I don't know if they'll explicitly go third party. They'll probably try to sell it as some sort of Republican takeover, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It'd be kind of interesting. But we've been watching this sort of these forces kind of marshaling to set up for something in 2028, or obviously past that too. But it seems to me that that's sort of the coalition that's sort of lining up, where Cenk wants to unite the populist left with the populist right, as he claims, even though he's the union busting left, and he was actually on the Oxford Union thing that he was banned from the UK about. They did a Zoom call with him and Hassan, and he described himself as being in the exact center of all positions. I should find that.
And then you were going to say one last thing, and I wanted to give you a chance to say it.
Well, one last thing is I co-sponsored the term limit bill every single Congress, and I never went to Washington to be another Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell. And the term limit bill—
Got him. Mentioned the bad villains that everybody hates.
Says that 3 terms is the limit. And
so she's just living by her own principles. I'm sure she would have term limited out if it wasn't this Trump death threat stuff that she's talking about too. No doubt. Absolutely. She would have just bounced off to become a hyper millionaire podcaster pal with phonies on the progressive center.
And so that was something that was important to me. But death threats on my children and my own life, and serving in an institution and for a party that is not serious about actually delivering the campaign promises they made to their voters is not something I'm going to dedicate my life to. And so I would say that anyone that wants to criticize me from their keyboard or thumbing in nasty comments on their phone, why don't they run for Congress and actually see what they can get accomplished instead of attacking me?
All right, yeah. There you go. Didn't think that you were going to be a wilting flower.
God damn it! Sorry, I ruined that. Back up. I press spacebar in all the other editing programs. That's why I'm hitting spacebar to try to pause it. Thumbing nasty comments. This is so fun anyway. I was describing it. I guess you call it. Do you type on your phone or do you thumb? Not now. I'm busy thumbing my wife a proposal, or my fiance. I mean, okay, ruined it. Good for you, Marjorie. Don't you back down. Cenk is horny for you. He has that smile, little flirty smile. These two have nice chemistry, and don't you dare let anyone judge you for abandoning all the things that you claim to, and then go on a tour acting like how brave you are for not doing your job when you let go of a whole bunch of power that you opted out of. So I backed up a little bit. We're going to
and actually see what they can get accomplished instead of attacking me.
All right, there you go. Didn't think that you were going to be a wilting flower on that one.
No.
Didn't think that you were going to be one of those diarrhea flowers. There's actually 2 diarrhea flowers. They're called corpse flowers. I guess there's 2 in California somewhere that are blooming. They bloom every 16 years, like cicadas or something, and they smell like rotting flesh and poop. Apparently they really do stink. They do seem like they'd be fun to have around, just because it'd be like, yeah, well, hopefully in 5 more years we're all going to smell this shitty flower. They're big and beautiful though. They're crazy flowers. But yeah, he's that certainly doesn't press her on any of that, and just says, oh, look at her, she's not backing down. I mean, you think she would, because she's a fucking quitter. She saw a tough fight ahead and she turned around and ran, just like Cenk has done with the union situation.
Okay.
Nor do I really care what they think. So there's that.
Yes, definitely not at all contradicted by the previous statement she just made, where she seemed to care greatly by saying that you run for Congress. You run for Congress. You can think you can prove something with your toeing up your nasty comments. I switched it to the toe, which is the thumbs of the foot.
All right.
I'm talking about Cenk Uygur. YTY.
Oh, but YTY. So yeah, that was all fun. It's been around. Political Punk did a story. Vanguard covered it. Who knows who else has, but it didn't pick up tweets or pick up retweets the way I had maybe hoped. But of course, I would prefer every tweet to go mega viral, so I can buy a spaceship and fly to the moon and fart my way past this. Okay, so all right, hold on. We're gonna switch the background. Let's go. We got plenty of particles for the day. I think most of the shit talk is done. Which one? What do we like here? What do we like? How about that one? That one's kind of fun. Moving on to the future king of America, Joe Rogan and JD Vance. I think these two are going to finally admit that they love each other, and they will become inseparable as they rule over all humanity after they are granted the powers from Baron Trump, who will die of an overdose after 16 years in office. And then after these two die, we'll have holograms of both of them. So Joe Rogan Experience, JD Vance. I paused it right here for some reason. I know there was a reason. I have the transcript up here. Oh, yeah. So, okay. The clip that's been going around is one talking about corn dogs, which we're going to look at after we look at this. It's a long episode. I searched for Epstein to see if we could find any talk about that, and it turned out they did bring it up. So I'm not even sure what they've said. I think this just aired earlier today or something, or yesterday or something. So let's just hit play and see what these two people are talking about. This disgusting pig, JD Vance, is violent. If you're in a government that does genocide, you belong in prison. Every single cabinet official, JD Vance, Trump, Biden, Harris, and every single cabinet official of Biden's admin, all equally guilty of genocide. They're not fighting to stop it. They're continuing to do it with our genocide partner in the Middle East, and they are evil, horrible people. It just fucking kills me how little accountability there is for this sort of stuff, for this kind of behavior. It's just foreign policy. Fuck no. These are some of the history's biggest murderers of children. So here, let's go.
Like blackmailed is crazy to me. Because again, I see the way that he makes decisions. I see the way that he processes this stuff. Like the idea that he picks up the phone with anybody and says, hey, like I'm going to take orders from you.
We're going to go larger screen here, guys. Just let me pause for a sec. There we go. That's a little bit. Yeah. All right.
No, that's just not how Donald Trump operates.
Could you understand, though, why people would come to that conclusion, especially because of the Epstein files?
What do you mean?
Well, the Epstein files were supposed to be released, and there was a tremendous amount of resistance to those files being released, and that concerned a lot of people. Because if you're talking about very wealthy, powerful people that were engaged in crimes,
I see. So you're basically saying like the fear is that whatever's in the Epstein files was used to blackmail like the administration into doing the Iran thing.
Or at the
That's not what he said. I'm not even sure precisely. We heard a little bit of what he was what led into this, but at least he brought it up. I agree. I mean, Rogan goes way off the deep end and all this stuff, and people are, there's a whole industry pointing out how FUBAR, his whatever it is, he's very prominent and powerful. I'm not sure he's currently the #1 podcast, but he's definitely been up there for some time, and he played a major role in the last election. He certainly scratches a lot of boomer itches and has a giant audience. But and he's in the documentary that I'm making, Tell the Truth, Cenk. Check it out. But because he talked about the misinformation situation that I cover, or one of them. So no, he's saying, JD Vance is saying that, oh, you mean blackmailed into doing the Iran thing? Like, no, he raped teenage girls with his friends for decades. He was one of the most prominent customers / partners in a child rape ring, in a human trafficking ring, in a child trafficking ring. The leader of our country, everybody knows this. They're hiding it. The United States government, the full force of the United States government, is dedicated to preventing the world from seeing evidence that the person in charge, the leader of the Republican Party, was raping children with his friends and trafficking young girls and boys. It's just normalized here. People interview Trump and they don't ask him about that. It's insane. How is this not the most important thing? I mean, that's one of the tragedies of it all, is that our culture is incredibly accommodating to people who abuse children. I think that's actually the root of so much of what's going on in this country, or in this society, and across the world, is the violence inflicted via, colonial expansion and domination and exploitation. But along with that came treating children like property, which means that there's a permission structure for severe abuse and mild abuse and all sorts of other ways. On top of that, even if you don't explicitly do this sort of heinous things to kids, if you have to work all the time, and again, it's not blaming anybody, but this is one of the ways that the society does not prioritize the health of children, is that parents are gone at fucking work. You got to go work to afford money to pay a person to look after your kid. And that's incredibly expensive for some reason. It's incredibly expensive because rich people are expensive. All these things are completely affordable. If we don't have fucking rich people to fund, if we didn't have to go through the greed filter. And the excuse making we have for this, the fact that the Republican Party, and you could make similar judgments about the tolerance for this kind of heinous stuff within the Democratic Party too. There's a lot I could say about the Graham Plattner thing. I've just been watching a lot of the reactions to that, and I have a lot of thoughts to share. I'm not going to go down that right now, maybe someday. But especially the Republicans, they're a pedophile child rape ring. They're run by it. They sell they bounced out. I keep using the word bounced, but they went after Thomas Massie. I'm not even a big Thomas Massie defender, but he was the one guy on the GOP side actually making some big stink and making some moves to force this issue into the public spotlight, and he totally got trounced because AIPAC didn't want him in there anymore. There's a whole other dimension of the Epstein in terms of the power brokering that went on, and there certainly probably was blackmail from all this stuff. Why he had cameras everywhere and blah 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 blah. But it's never not embarrassing and humiliating and just like soul crushing that we live in a society where we have a guy who hails Hitler and the world reacts by making him a trillionaire within a couple of years. There's no pressure. There's no peer pressure, peer group consequence to being a fucking Nazi. We don't live in a world that's hostile to Nazis like we should. Elon Musk is proof. It's the same thing with raping kids, the way Trump does, the way Trump has. It's just fucking disgusting. Let's just keep going. Sorry.
Very least, the people that were involved in the Epstein files that didn't want them coming out had undue influence.
Well, again, how
do I make excuses? Why am I giving such a Southern accent? I don't know how to impersonate him. How do I make excuses for... He's such a phony.
Say this with all candor, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files.
Oh,
we just did.
The comms.
But I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one...
So if they weren't trying to hide something, why were they redacting everything they could? Why were they redacting the names of people who we still don't know? They're covering up and protecting their buddies, the rich, powerful people, across the political aisle, but certainly mostly on the right. You got that Chomsky in there, and some of the things they didn't redact it properly. A bunch of amateur hour fools over there, but they're hiding it. Trump is all over the fucking Epstein files. He's in it. He's one of them. It's so disgusting, and it's going to come out eventually, I hope. I mean, although what's stopping them from just destroying evidence? Why would, like, that's the whole point. That's the whole thing about power. It's something I think about a lot with the Young Turks Project, is that the point of being in the ruling class and the CEO class and the boss class, the upper class, the order giving class, the soft hands who never touch a tool class, is impunity. It's power is about impunity. And rules for others. You know, there's that famous quote. I'm going to probably butcher it, but it's something like conservatism consists of the notion that there should be laws that bind but do not protect. There should be an out-group for whom laws bind but do not protect, and an in-group for whom laws protect but do not bind. So they're not held to the standards. They're not held to the rules. You can bust a union and then lie about being a union buster and avoid ever having to face a consequence for, you know, classifying your workers in a way where they don't get benefits while they work, and you call them part-time. I'm getting too specific under the TOT stuff. I'll back off that for a sec, or for now. But it's the impunity. That's the whole thing. And in fact, the exercise of hypocrisy is only something that affects those who care about even the appearance of principles. Hypocrisy is proof that the system is working the way it's supposed to. Trump doesn't have to face any consequences. He has total authority, but he has zero responsibility. And that's what powerful people do. They build a system where they don't have to face accountability. They can operate with impunity. They can treat people like shit. They can do what these guys were doing. They can do the bullshit Cenk was doing. Nowhere near the same. It's even saying in the same breath, it's not fair. But like, that's still bad, in my opinion. We're still worthy of a documentary. The final third of it's going to have a pretty interesting reveal. I think people will be curious to see. And there's just this is what ruling class solidarity is. It's Rat King solidarity. It's these fucking assholes all just look out for each other. It's why Biden and Merrick Garland didn't do any aggressive prosecution of the Trump bullshit from January 6th. It took them forever to get going, and then they botched it all up. That's why Obama talked about looking back, looking forward, not back. When he talked about Wall Street, the criminals that destroyed society. You go steal $100, you're probably going to go to prison. But these fuckers cost the society trillions, and, you know, had to get bailed out, and people lost their homes, and the foreclosure crisis, the housing home market crash in 2008 and all that shit. It wasn't a market crash per se, but it was devastating for small people. But the rich people got saved by Obama, and then he didn't prosecute anybody. So it's the impunity. It's getting away with whatever the fuck they want, which is why they resent rules and laws and people who try to hold them accountable. That's what the whole tension between all the isms is in terms of our political battlefield.
You know, Pam Bondi said the client.
Pam Bondi's brother is a lawyer who brokers or brokered. I don't know if he's still there, but he was doing deals with people to get the bribes for the pardons. The whole fucking group of criminals, man.
List is on my desk, right?
Well, they had binders. They were standing in front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So here's, let me try to.
Well, what was the purpose of that performative display of the Epstein?
I credit Joe Rogan for bringing this up. At least he's asking a very powerful person a question about a sensitive topic. I'll at least give him that. But watch JD here when he drops his head.
What was the purpose of that?
Oh, damn. Oh man. He interrupted. I had just thought of something that was good. This guy's very good at bullshitting. He's got no riz, no charisma. Unlike me.
Formative display of the Epstein files, and she was saying there's tens of thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that
the purpose was to deceive and continue to protect the pedophiles who run society, who resent the world for not letting them continue North America as Epstein Island, and they had to retreat to an island. I mean, of course, there's still vast amounts of horrors happening on the greater continent.
The effect of it was to make people mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was
the lying and the putting out stuff that was already released and pretending it was redacting things that had been out already. Yes, it made people mistrust the effort.
Look, I know Pam. I like Pam. I don't think there's anything malicious going on.
Oh, I see the Pam. He's bringing up Pam to throw her under the bus. This is just, dirty politics. Stab her in the back.
I think Pam was trying to respond to the political moment. I think she overstated what we had and what we didn't have. And I think that she, got roasted for it publicly by a lot of people, including me. Like, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm like one of the OG Epstein conspiracy theorists. I've probably gone down every single rabbit hole we could go down, most of them today. Look, the original sin of the Epstein investigation, and obviously I'm biased here, but it was not what Donald Trump and the administration did in 2025. It was, you have to go back to 2007, 2008. The original Alex Acosta investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, where he basically dropped the federal charges. I think
and then Trump made him his labor secretary in Trump 1.0.
He ended up getting prosecuted on some sort of local thing. But the original warrant, you go to the original warrant back in 2008. What was he looking for? What was he allowed to look for? What were they collecting?
The only person who's been convicted of anything is Ghislaine Maxwell. There was a British guy lost his job or some shit, whatever the fuck. A couple of them, I think. But Ghislaine Maxwell, they moved her to a much cozier prison. They have prisons that aren't so terrible, and she gets to run the place. I haven't seen all the articles about that, but she's living in basically government-funded luxury at her club-fed prison. Donald Trump sent Todd Blanche, his personal lawyer, to intervene and to negotiate and to do. I don't think we've ever seen the contents of those meetings. And now Todd Blanche replaced Pam Bondi as the Attorney General, the president's personal fucking lawyer. The Attorney General is supposed to be a completely separate job. Like, that's one of those old norms that was part of a thing. There's I think her name was Loretta Lynch. It was Bill Clinton's Attorney General. I just recall some scandal where it was in Arizona. Clinton and her were at the same airport. It was considered a terrible thing. At least it was treated. And of course, with a lot of bad faith, with a lot of bull crap, media, right-wing freak out. The way they were about Clinton back then was nuts. If you weren't born back then, if you weren't alive, I was a teenager in the 90s. And he and Loretta Lynch had a conversation in public view on the tarmac of the airport. He walked up to her and they talked to her for a little bit, and then they separated. And a small little conversation. In today's world, it would be nothing, but it was a big scandal, and it should be. Like, the whole notion of judicial independence, because the Attorney General is the head of the Justice Department. They're the top prosecutor in the country. They direct an immense amount of power and resources, and it's completely inappropriate for there to be political interests injected into into any kind of prosecution. As of course there is now. There's vast and aggressive, completely corrupt, completely disgusting and un-American, give me a break, prosecutions coming straight out of Donald Trump's political impulses through his attorney generals, covering up his pedophilia, for instance, brokering pardons of cocaine traffickers and other white-collar criminals, and the January 6th guys, and all those other corrupt things. It's just completely off the charts, man.
Not looking at a broader conspiracy. So that happens, okay? Epstein gets pinched. I think he goes to prison, or maybe this is when he was on house arrest. Mm-hmm. But like anything that existed from the 80s and 90s up to 2006, 2007, anything that existed that we didn't get back then was disappeared. Right. So like when people say, has what you've seen on the inside make you think that that Epstein never blackmailed people, or that Epstein never engaged in broader sex trafficking? No, absolutely not.
Human child trafficking. Calling it sex trafficking is bad, but it means teenagers and children.
What I have seen, and I've looked at most of the files, is
sure you have,
that there just wasn't dispositive evidence. And if that dispositive evidence ever existed, it was probably destroyed after 2006, 2007. Now, like, again, in our defense. Yes. Was there some bitching and moaning, and was there some back and forth? Yes.
Dispositive means, in law and general terminology, dispositive means something that definitively settles or decides an issue. making further deliberation or evidence unnecessary. A dispositive fact, ruling, or piece of evidence has the power to determine the final outcome of a claim or case. So it wasn't conclusive enough for him, so they just stopped looking into it, is what he says. Bullshit. Total bullshit. It's also one of those legal jargon type words that is bamboozles people who don't know what they're talking about, like me.
But we eventually collected 6 million documents as part of the effort. The president, people say the president was forced into releasing the documents. Like, again, the idea that Donald Trump could not have killed that legislation, especially with the United States Senate, is a joke. He absolutely could have killed it. What did he do? He actually said, no, we're going to release these files. He thought, you know, he was annoyed by the story. He was annoyed by the Democrats accusing him of doing things bad. By the way, like, do I think there is any, I've never seen a single piece of credible evidence that the President of the United States engaged in wrongdoing with minors, ever.
Bullshit.
So, like, when the President says the hoax.
There's some very credible stuff in there about drowning a baby or disposing of a baby in a Lake Michigan from a person who was interviewed multiple times. There was rape allegations in 2015 from an underage person, 2015, 2016, where the young person, or the woman that by now would have been older, withdrew it after threats and stuff came up. I don't have the entire inventory in my brain, but there's all sorts of things. There's all sorts of stuff that are in the Epstein files that suggest, not just directly from Trump, him writing that birthday card talking about how enigmas never age, that super creepy Epstein birthday card. Anybody associated with him should be fucking investigated. Drag Noam Chomsky out of the goddamn, library he lives in and throw that fucking 92-year-old mummy in a prison cell for prove it, see what but there was all kinds of reasons to look into Trump's involvement with Epstein. This fucking liar. The GOP's a bunch of child rapist protecting jerks.
That's what he's.
I hope they get that cyclosporea diarrhea.
Talking about is this democratic idea that he somehow was a pedophile. It's absurd. There's no evidence for it. Now, the Epstein law gets signed. We find 6 million documents. We find about 3 million of them are actually responsive, has something to do with the Epstein estate. We release all of them, with the exception of a few things that are like, the courts have said that we have to redact certain things or we can't release certain files. But like, we did release all these files. Did it take longer than it should have taken? Yes. But we did release these files. And again, the problem here is not like anything that's in the files or not in the files. The problem is, if you go back to the original investigation,
I can't move that image around the way it is in the browser. That's why it's kind of awkward. Oh shit! Did I not turn? There you go. Yeah, I wanted to see his signature. Signature signed where the private follicles would be down there, and it's also like an oddly not woman body. It's kind of a adolescent-ish. It's kind of hard to just be conclusive, but look at this creep, man. Look at this fucking shit. That's not evidence that warrants further investigation. I'd call it dispositive, okay?
It was designed in a way that was way too narrow. If there was a broader conspiracy, and my view is that there probably was, the evidence that existed in 2007, that was the opportunity to get
So
it.
when you say there probably was a broader conspiracy, what exactly are you saying?
I think there are a few different options. I mean, look, man, I you and I could literally do 2 episodes about this. I've gone on down to every rabbit hole. There's this funny New York Times story that's somewhat true, somewhat false, but where Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, says, well, we know JD's a conspiracy theorist on this. Like, I am, actually. I've gone down every
because he's in it. He's in on it. He is the experience. He is in the conspiracy. He's part of it.
Rabbit hole here. Look, so there's the theory that whether it was American intel or foreign intel, that Epstein was sort of using sort of the sex ring to blackmail rich and powerful people.
The child rape ring. It wasn't just sex. Did sex between adults occur? Probably. Did they also coerce and abuse young women who were over 18? Yes. but also plenty and well known to be much younger. There's super creepy stuff that I'll look for on Twitter as we hit play here, where it's talking about little. Okay.
There's that piece of it. You know, I think there's a separate conspiracy that hasn't gotten covered as much, which is that Epstein actually. Okay, if you go back to the original Epstein guy was Les Wexner. Okay, who Columbus, Ohio.
That's the Victoria's Secret dude, right? Just Lex Wexner to just make sure that I don't get that wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Was the wealthiest person in Ohio, maybe still is the wealthiest person in the state of Ohio. The thing that everybody in
here's one. Here, this is it. RT.com. Is that coming up on OBS here? Just making sure. Yeah. Someone wrote, "Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Thank you for a fun night. ... Your littlest girl was a little naughty." And they redacted the name of who sent this to Jeffrey Epstein. March 2014. Tuesday. Why don't we get to see that? Who the fuck sent that? Here's another one. New Brazilian just arrived. Sexy and cute. And then smiley 9YO or =9YO. Now, my impulse does that mean 9-year-old equals 9-year-old, or is that like a smiley with this? I'm trying to offer far more good faith than this deserves. They redacted the names. There's pictures attached. JPEGs, 5 of them. January 17, 2013. Best regards, name redacted. JD Vance is fucking complicit.
Columbus, I lived there for a time, knew about the Wexner-Epstein relationship is that Epstein was his tax guy. That Epstein was like the genius at identifying weird tax strategies that would allow you to not have to pay taxes, but if you were being a little skeptical, would also say that it would allow Epstein to either blackmail people or to have a separate nexus of influence and control on rich and powerful people. And so I think there's an underreported, underexplored story of was Epstein like doing a lot of tax stuff that was not on the up and up, and is that one way in which he gained blackmail? It's not opposite of the sexual blackmail story, but in some ways it's you could imagine both things being true. I also just
the sexual blackmail could be as true as being great at taxes. What the fuck? Super wealthy too. It's just all such a scam. It's all just such a fucking scam. Just modern versions of marauding, raping, pillaging. Columbus pulled up in a boat. They started raping kids, and they never fucking stopped, man.
I think there's an element of he was a scumbag. He was a very sick person.
Described by Trump as best friends with Epstein for a very long time.
He built relationships with a lot of other rich and powerful people who just didn't have any real moral judgment about the fact the guy was obviously a scumbag. And again, to go back to defending Donald Trump, I know people don't want to hear this these days, but like, who was the guy? People say Donald Trump's blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein. Who was the guy who narked on Epstein to the Palm Beach police? That's in the Epstein files.
Right.
It was Donald Trump.
He also kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
He kicked him out of
2005.
Mar-a-Lago. It's just, again,
loyal soldier Joe Rogan seems to be just like, oh yeah, that right, yep, and he kicked him out. Like I think there were criminal investigations happening. You turn on your co-conspirators. That's what that shit is. You think Donald Trump is the kind of guy that wouldn't suddenly do that against the person who supplies him with 13-year-olds to rape? Give me a fucking break.
It's obvious that Epstein was a sick man.
Yes,
but he was just sick. He just had a sickness. This is exactly this type of conversation. Even though we're in our weird world with modern podcast and telecom communication, internet, all over human, or especially American society throughout history, there's been this type of conversation where powerful rich guys either are in on it, but but the other major part of it is making excuses, downplaying it, acting like it's no big deal, maintaining the permission structure to treat children like objects to just satisfy some sociopath's impulse. It's disgusting.
He mishandled the Epstein release. Guilty. We did mishandle, especially the communications of it.
What do you think should have been done?
I think that we should have just dropped everything at the very beginning. And like, obviously,
that makes it sound like they ever dropped anything. They never dropped everything. We should have just dropped it all at the beginning. That makes it sound like, oh, eventually we did. They did. No, they didn't. This is bullshit, man.
It takes a little time to review the stuff, to find the stuff, to redact things where you have victims and so forth. But we should have just done it
and perpetrators and Donald Trump
quickly as possible.
But some of the stuff that was redacted, some of the names that were redacted weren't victim.
All right. Okay. I'll give Rogan credit for that. Okay.
So yeah, I've looked into this, and my understanding of this, having looked at a lot of this but not all of it, is that it is sometimes hard to draw a distinction between victim and co-conspirator. And like, let me highlight this in a very sort of obvious way. Ro Khanna, who's been one of the loudest voices on the Epstein file. Well, he became very loud on the Epstein files the minute Donald Trump became president. Didn't seem to care about it during the Biden administration. He actually brought one of the Epstein victims, I think, to the State of the Union last year, or maybe it was the year before last. Well, like that victim, and I'm not saying she wasn't a victim. I don't know anything about her particular case. She was also listed as a co-conspirator in some of these documents. Right, so there's an idea.
So his answer to why didn't you redact some of the names that weren't all victims was that, well, one of the victims was also a co-conspirator, was also in it. I don't know if what he's talking about has any truth to it at all. There are groups of victims who have, like, coalesced into advocacy groups to fight for this stuff. And when the guy who did it becomes president, it makes sense to use that in order to try to get leverage to try to gain the justice that was not served. And it's completely fair. If he gets to this or says it, he'd be right, that the Biden wanted to cover it up too. This stuff has been in the government's, coffers or, files, shelves for a very, very long time. And it takes time. So, I think there should be a legal process that should be respected, of course. But if you think that the billionaire child rape ring that provided this appetite, that supplied the appetite to, fulfilling the appetites for all these fucking freaks throughout the society at different levels of, on top of that, the blackmail and the Mossad connections and the whole sordid history of all these scumbags, wasn't across the political spectrum. You're fooling yourself. I had a different thought in the middle of that sentence, so I lost track of it. But he brings up that one of the victims is the example of someone who was whose name was kept out of it. That's crazy.
Idea that some of the people who were engaged in the sex trafficking were also, facilitating it as well.
So they were incentivized to get more girls.
Yeah, but yes, that's right. But the idea is that it's hard to sort of.
I think it might have happened where someone who was victimized as a young girl, maybe in her teens, they don't always just go away after the first time. They might end up working in those things. Trump talked about how Epstein stole one of his girls who was a massage person at his club. Epstein's house in Florida is like down the street from Mar-a-Lago. These guys were neighbors, between a mile and 2 miles, I believe. And I think they tore down Epstein's property. I could be wrong, but they lived right by each other. These were like social circle pals. They were best friends. NBC did its stories about them partying together when he was just a playboy who people knew from Home Alone and other shit in the 80s. So like there's nuances and complexities to this stuff where someone might have been victimized and then groomed into working within the system, and in their 20s, in their teens, late teens, 20s, they grow into that and then eventually realize how that the inappropriateness of all that too. So this is just such diabolical fucking lying that this guy's doing.
Sometimes a little bit of a gray area between, some of the people who were alleged victims were also alleged co-conspirators. And so what DOJ tried to do was kind of make that judgment as best they could and release as much as possible.
Oh, right. Yeah. Some of the 70-year-old billionaire and centimillionaire dudes and rich fucks, they might have also been victims. Fuck off, dude. Kiss my ass. Suck the diarrhea out of my shorts.
It's clear that he was trying to get in contact with people that he felt were influential. It was clear that he was trying to get people to get together on the island and meet at parties. So there was something he was doing where he was trying to.
There's a lot. They talked about that a lot longer than I thought, so it took a bit more. I was kind of looking forward to keeping this under 2 hours. So let's push ahead, though. There's, Jesus, it's so horrid. Aren't you tired of talking about the people in power's penises? Isn't it getting fucking old? Can we please get some goddamn matriarchy up in this place so we can stop this shit? Among the many upsides of matriarchy is we'll probably won't have to constantly talk about the leader's junk all the fucking time. Not that I'd be against a lady who is horny and, okay, all right, let's not go. But Hank, what are you doing? But seriously, Jesus Christ, Clinton. I mean, if they're not wiener guys, they're murdering people constantly, or like Obama, he murdered Americans with drones. He bombed people, but he never had sex scandals. He put a basketball hoop on the tennis court, which is people are comparing. They bring that up when they talk about Trump's ballroom. Give me a break, man. Keep repeating phrases. It bothers me. So, corn dogs came up. This has been on Twitter. I don't have the Twitter clip to play, but it made me, since I had the YouTube transcript up, I searched for corn and then I backed up a little bit. So let me just get it so it highlights. Yeah, there we go. So right around here, we're going to go back 30 seconds or so and see what they're talking about that got them to talking about how putting your mouth around a corn dog is uncomfortable. So let me change the background though for everybody so we have something more fun to look at. Yeah, that's good. All right. So go JD, fucking liar.
Together, I think the argument for Biden was he was one of the only people who could hold that together, even though he was an awful politician in his own right, even before he was like old.
Well, it's because he was Obama's vice president.
Exactly.
And, he's established, he's a known name. And for the people that were kind of casuals, that weren't really paying attention to politics, like he's a proven commodity.
That's right. He doesn't read as a crazy person to the general electorate, even though,
I got hairy legs. When he would tell stories like, I'll tell you about corn pop. Like, what?
Oh,
what the fuck is going on?
The thing I couldn't get over Biden is
Here we go. Hold.
I learned a lot. And I learned that it makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and there weren't allowed to, there was a 3-meter board.
There's a 3-meter board. September 15th, 2019.
And you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off.
Oh, because he didn't have so he was a lifeguard in his younger year. He's at a pool. The kids there's got swim goggles on.
He said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said,
sorry, I thought he said gaydar. I was like, gaydar was there. That's a machine?
I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors.
Straight razors?
Not a joke. There's a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic.
What are these kids thinking though? They're just having a day at the swim, swimming pool, and there's fucking this weird old man rambling to some, there must be a bunch of hubbub because there's all those microphones, there's all these reporters, there's every single one of these campaign type things are surrounded by this phalanx of, their own kind of staff, but also the press that goes with during presidential campaigns. I rode in a Bernie Sanders motorcade for a brief stretch in Southern California for one day. It was really cool.
And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. The chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you kidding me?
Such a violent story. So dudes wanted to cut him with razors, and he went to fight him with a chain.
He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain, and I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty.
Everybody remembers getting their straight razor rusty in case you want to have a fight outside the pool.
And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you to get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
I thought I had a different. Oh, shit. Okay. Rogan referenced the hairy legs, and that's what I thought that story was going to have. That was fine to listen to. Nice old memory of this cranky, shitty old man who became one of the world's greatest murderers of children, talking about how he and with his chain helped de-escalate a situation with guys who had rusty straight razors outside the pool because of the pomade. But here's the hairy legs.
In the state of Delaware. Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand.
Oh, he puts his arm around a little kid. That's gross.
Hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun.
Blonde, hairy legs. You relate to that? Black children surrounding me. He's really.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
That's fucking shit, man. What the fuck is going on?
Is
back to Rogan here. Back to
bad staff work, man. The way that he ate ice cream. I mean, it's like, you know, we could bring some of this stuff up, but it's like they would get him eating ice cream in the most ridiculous, suggestive way imaginable.
Well, I mean, he was just an ice cream hound. He would eat ice cream. I wouldn't say he was the most. It wasn't like a stripper trying to, you know, get the ice cream pregnant or whatever. It was like so he's talking about the optics of political campaigning, and he's not wrong that there are. It's a very important. Photos can, with the wrong kind of message. Michael Dukakis with the tank helmet. What's his face in Texas put out because they were calling him vegan. Federico, what the fuck? James Tallarico. You know, they're saying he's vegan, and since it's Texas politics, he posted him eating a big turkey leg, and of course they're like, oh, it's turkey, it's not meat. Obama got called out for, well, that was for putting mustard on his burger. They acted like that was some severe infraction against masculinity, but like it is true, and it's kind of one of the dumber parts. Although somewhat I wouldn't say wholesome, but a little bit more innocent in terms of the way political campaigns work in terms of, you know, optics being more important. Overweighted is probably a better word to describe that. But so he's talking about Biden and his ice cream.
I never even
like the fact that the Trump, who he defends, was a child rapist, didn't seem to be as bad of optics as the Biden being awkward about eating ice cream because he's a decaying old wretched mummy.
Oh my God! Like that's just such bad optics. Okay, so there's a clip I want to say from the 2016 campaign where somebody is campaigning in Iowa, and like it's the Iowa State Fair is like one of the main things.
I think it was Pete Buttigieg with the corn dog, Iowa State Fair corn dog before 2020. I'll just do 2021. That's a great way. It's called an operator, and it helps to, we got a lot of people eating corn dogs over here. The spectacle of the Iowa State Fair. Okay, it's just like there's random people eating corn dogs. All right.
You go to when you're running for president, and they give somebody a corn dog. And somebody eats the corn dog. And it becomes like a major news cycle for a long time. And I will never forget in 2024, In 2020,
This is how immature we are.
I know. You gotta have a little fun sometimes, though. But in 2024, somebody is holding up a sign at the Iowa State Fair. I think it may have been one of Vivek's event, Vivek Ramaswamy's events, and the sign says, "Eat the corn dogs, you coward." And it's one of the best political signs I've ever seen.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right, here's a quick video. Washington Post.
If you've ever been to a state fair, you know roughly what to expect.
August 13th, 2019.
Have a good day at the fair.
There's livestock, rides, and the food comes on a stick. But every 4 years at the Iowa State Fair, there's a different sort of attraction.
Let's get to the point.
That's because the road to the White House runs straight through the Des Moines Fairgrounds.
All of our veterans who are here.
Every candidate gets
Fucking warmongering, lying piece of shit, Tulsi Gabbard.
20 minutes to make their case to voters.
Just let us thank you for your service.
The story of this state
Cory
is
Booker.
the
Fucking warmongering, lying piece of shit.
story of America.
You have a private health insurance plan that is strong and solid that you want to hold
Julian Castro, fucking lying, warmongering. I think he's better than Cory Booker.
on to. You should be able to hold on to that.
This year, with more than 20 Democratic presidential hopefuls in the mix, the media present.
Come on, I'm skipping ahead.
To succeed at the fair, you have to come off as authentic and unscripted. And there are unwritten rules to be mindful of. For starters,
Kamala,
dress casual.
warmongering.
Fred Thompson wore these fancy loafers here in 2007.
Slip up like wearing Gucci
And
loafers.
he never heard the end of it. And have fun, but
Kamala Harris is actually a capable cook. It's about the only time she ever seems like a real person is when she's talking about food. She's done a bunch of stuff like that. Just host a goddamn show on cooking show TV, okay? Get on The View and do a weekly segment where you share recipes or go to prison for murder because you're a fucking war criminal.
maybe not too much fun. When President Obama visited in 2012, the Secret Service shut down the beer tent for hours. The owner later said it cost him thousands of dollars. Never one to heed the rules, then candidate Donald Trump arrived by helicopter in 2015.
Does anybody want to take a ride?
And then he refused to go to the soapbox, but he still drew a crowd. The president hasn't made an appearance this year, but his name is in the air.
If you were just to flip on the cable
Hey,
news,
it's Mobile Noble's Andrew Yang.
why would you think that Donald Trump's our president today? Why would you think that Donald Trump won Iowa by 9 points?
These candidates have already spent months.
What the fuck? Where's the goddamn corn? Jesus, this has just been nothing but a... Okay, sorry. You know, you're going to have to Google your own corn dog stuff, all right? Let's keep going back to...
Yeah, you'd have to be a very manly man to be able to eat confidently eat a corn dog.
Yeah, I don't know that I could do it, Joe.
So that's a clip that's been going around about like the gay panic of being seen with a corn dog in your mouth. Put the corn dog in your mouth and take a bite. What the fuck's wrong with you? This is such an example. And I'm not saying that I necessarily even agree, because I think Rogan, JD Vance just goes, oh, I couldn't do it.
I eat them. They're good.
Yeah, but
they taste good.
Are you I love corn dogs.
I've been photographed.
You've been photographed eating a corn dog?
I'm sure someone has.
Oh my God. Oh, you've been such a politician, like scoundrel, like sleazy, like, oh my God. He's a, oh, jeez, this guy takes risks I would never take.
What if...
I've eaten corn dogs. The odds
much
are
more interesting life that I've led. I try to eat my corn dogs. That's between me and my kitchen.
I'm not scared.
He can only eat corn dogs in the privacy, so no one can watch him whacking off to Grinder as he's doing it.
Eat a corn dog. I just think it's funny that people they're so afraid of being anything that looks like a dick. You can't. Like bananas, corn dogs.
You gotta be
my dick.
You gotta be careful when you're in politics. This is an optics-based business here.
What are those popsicles? The ones that
Optics-based business is a great way to say lie-based business.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, but it's just like that's how crazy we are. That's what weirds people out. The way someone eats a hot dog. That's like, okay.
Yeah, there was a Pete Buttigieg one. Maybe it wasn't a corn dog. I think it was. He just had some like crazy look on his face as he's taking a weird bite. Let me just Google Pete Buttigieg crazy face bite. Crazy face bite. Images. I don't need. There it is. Okay. There he is. Look at him. Look at this fucking rat-faced freak. This guy's gonna try to be president. This really went around. Can I get just this whole? I don't want to just visit. You guys can see that, right? Though that's okay. Makes that face. He's eating a pork chop. I think it looks like a pork chop on a stick with a little napkin around the handle. There you go. Yang. There you go. Very good. Having a turkey leg. Super awkward. Turkey legs are hard to eat. I like turkey legs. They used to be cheap. Smoked turkey leg in a little package would be like $2 or $3. I think I've seen them for like $7, $8. But they have a bunch of tendons and stuff that they're really kind of annoying to eat. They're fun and they taste. I like a good roasted, properly cooked turkey leg for sure. But wow, he's got glasses on. That's funny. I mean, hey, willingness to at least just chow down, but you know, it's the camera density around him though. You see everybody filming him. It is weird. I mean, I'll grant JD Vance some accuracy, I guess, in the fact that this stuff does actually impact politics. All right. Hold on. Not okay. Politicians, crazy face bite. Oh shit. This went bad quick. Okay. All right. Let's go. State fair politician. Face bite. Newt Gingrich. Joe Lieberman. That's John McCain. There he is having a pork chop. That's a corn dog there under, Newt Gingrich is jamming a hot dog. Or he's pulling it out of his mouth for all we know. He probably, So, okay. All right. Well, I thought that second round was going to be filled with fun, but Biden recounts his stuff. Speaking of weirdos eating, I had gotten this. This is a minute 19. Donald Trump, this is in November 16, 2017. So he had been president, right? He won in 2016, and so he'd been president for almost a year by now.
These companies have announced...
He gets thirsty. His denture, his teeth are a lot younger than his disgusting ancient bones held together with unholy magic. So he gets thirsty and he wants some water. He starts looking for water. Oh, I remember, he's just such a weirdo. It's like off the charts in every single category of regular human.
1,000 jobs. Thank you.
Hold on, let's back up just so you can hear him talk.
$1 billion, 17,000 jobs.
Little dry mouth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They don't have water. That's okay.
That's okay.
What? Oh, it's okay.
That's okay. Okay. Look at this awkward. Why does he move it? Makeup slathered fucking freak. Look how he takes a sip.
In China, we also
look at this weirdo. Look at this crazy. 2 hands. Like.
In China, we also announced $250 billion
Here's another one.
worth
We got
in
more.
trade investment deals that will create jobs in the United
States. Didn't get the job done on that first sip, which, is known for people who have to pass dementia tests every 6 months and think that they're taking intelligence tests.
United States.
Right there. Look at this weirdo.
That will create jobs.
Leans forward. Like, this seems to me like you're not trying to mess up your makeup, or like maybe you have like schmutz on your hands. Like if you've ever like been preparing meat in your kitchen and you need to like take a sip, and you kind of you don't want to wash your hands, which I would wash my hands first, but maybe there's something slimy on your hands or whatever, and you have to hold the cup with the palms, and you have to like there's sometimes it's maybe you are in a Broadway play and you don't want to mess up your makeup or something. I don't know how taking a regular sip would mess up your makeup, but I'm just saying this weird caution is just, how do people see this fucking weirdo and relate to him? It's almost like the oddballness of it functions in a similar way that like the way this is a thing I've thought about a lot is like how religion has to be far enough away from scientific kind of the center of gravity of scientific knowledge for it to work, because if you have religion that's like close to science, it's more easy to debunk. If you're like, oh, the speed of acceleration of gravity is actually 6.2 meters per second squared, and you're like, what are you talking? No, it's 9.8. Like we've studied, like we do that all the time. We have good science around that. You can't just be like close. You have to be far enough off, and then you become something completely different. I don't know if that makes any sense, but look at this goofball.
From China, I flew.
Of course, it's China. So, okay. Speaking of which, almost done. Marsha Blackburn, famous racist, put out her China ad. This has been going around. We're going to watch it. You've probably already seen it, but it's a ad for, honestly, is she a senator? I should know that. Sorry, forgive me for not knowing this. Marsha Blackburn cracks down on China. You better watch out, China. An old dumbass Karen from wherever the fuck she Tennessee. I don't actually know.
How hard am I gonna
Tennessee.
crack down
See,
on?
I was saying the right word. I was saying conservative warrior. She's in a Chinese restaurant. Lots of red tile, red booth. We got red stuff everywhere. A little red basket filled with fortune cookies. Backed up. Start over.
How hard am I gonna crack down on China? Well, here's a clue.
Marsha Blackburn worked with President Trump to take on communist China. As governor, Marsha will fight to protect Tennessee.
It's on a fortune cookie. It says Marsha Blackburn will fight to protect Tennessee land from China. It would be funny if that was your fortune. And it's cut off weird. They cut off the end of it.
Land from Chinese front companies, close loopholes, and hunt down every...
Look at that. That's just like VFX'd on there. Someone just took a white fortune cookie and added it. I think that's what the other one was too. Marsha Blackburn will close loopholes. Because you could track, as a video editor, you could track this white square fairly easily. It's a bit trickier to get the curve of the paper onto the text. That's why it looks goofy. Looks like they might have tried a little bit.
Communist who...
So Marsha Blackburn will close loopholes and hunt down communists. I'm not actually necessarily opposed to restrictions on foreigners owning tons of land in America if you're not going to live here and function here or whatever else. I'm not even against it necessarily. I think the relationship with owning land needs to be completely revisited, to put it nicely. But no, I'm not saying I agree with this racist bullshit that they're doing here. It does. What I'm saying doesn't just apply to Chinese people. It applies to rich people all over the world.
Who tries to defy us.
It doesn't take a fortune cookie to figure it out. Here in Tennessee, we're going to stop communist China and protect Tennessee land.
So
How
racist.
hard am I?
So apparently, I didn't actually realize this, but soy sauce is Japanese origin, not Chinese. That people point that out. But come on, soy sauce is very commonly served in Chinese restaurants. And American Chinese restaurants are not necessarily representative of what they actually eat in China. From what I see on TikTok, the food in China is fucking rad, man. There's all kinds of amazing restaurants and street food, and it's very affordable. Their housing prices have tanked, which sounds like it's a bad thing in our American ears, but it actually means that they've used policy to improve the lives of their citizens by making it possible to live indoors. Everybody gets to live indoors in China. Oh no, the communists are coming. We have to crash the housing market as fast as we possibly can. I don't actually think that's the best idea, but housing prices being stratospheric and never able to go down because that would be a loss of assets to people is a completely horrible mistake. We have to fix this desperately.
Close loopholes and hunt down every communist who tries to defy us.
It doesn't take a fortune cookie to figure it out.
It doesn't take a fortune cookie to figure it out. It's got a weird speaking cadence. So let's, instead of going on and on about how much I love Chinese food and Chinese people, and I really want to go get my Chinese restaurant around here. They got, oh man, it's pretty good. It's kind of expensive. It's expensive for me, but I'm just trying to lose weight. I don't need those carbs right now. Oh, it's so tempting. I'm so hungry for it. Okay, but here's another racist ad from this crazy hag. October 16th, 2024, 30 seconds. This one has 523,000 views. That other one only had like 40-something, 44.
Some say I'm too tough, that I should be more delicate.
People keep
but
saying
you know
that.
what? It's time to break some China. China stole our jobs.
And plates are China, apparently. I know that my mom is a plate lady, and she's, I have heard the word China, not in anything to do with Chinese something, but I guess that's called, I don't know why that is. I'm sure that's one of those Googleable things. So they're obviously doing, we're breaking plates with the flag of the stars of China on it, of their flag. This is so ridiculous. It's so racist.
It's a virus. They're buying up our land and spying on us. I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve.
Just that last one. I just want to see the plate. It just says China. Look at those motion graphics with the word popping out. Here we go. China. Now, I don't know the symbols there, if that means China. But honestly, that's a cool plate. I would totally love a plate like that. I have a glued together plate. I have Fiesta, I think they are, but I've had these yellow plates forever. I'm not going to get new plates, but oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. But that plate looked awesome. I want those plates. Maybe we can all start a business. You guys want to do another side project with me that I'll eventually abandon before following through on it? Because selling China plates sounds fucking. Those are cool plates.
Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message because we're going to have to break a lot more China to save America.
So that's an After Effects or something. Watch the words.
Have to break a lot more.
Watch China. It's time to break China. Is going to shatter into. Damn, I know I've done this exact thing.
China.
See how it comes apart. There's no extrusion, so it just turns into shapes according to the shatter map or whatever it's called. I've done that exactly. There's a couple parts in the TOT documentary that has awesome extrusion, by the way.
To save America.
Okay, save America by breaking plates. We're going to do it. The Chinese anti-China propaganda. It's starting to wither off. It's starting to, people are starting to get a sense for the immense power of the Chinese economic model and its system of, looking ahead. They do a thing called the 5-year plan, and I think they're on their 17th or their 14th or something. But they deliberately stop and go, what do we want to be in 5 years? And they do that every 5. Like, they actually have a concept that you should prepare for the future and consider the health and well-being of your own people. There are downsides to China for sure, but they have lifted 800 million people out of poverty since the 80s. They virtually eliminated homelessness. Prices are incredibly affordable. People that go there come back and they're like, oh my God, we are getting ripped off here in America. Because America's not an economy. It's a placenta for rich people. So, all right, good. Screw those people. Speaking of which, tell the truth, Jank, everybody. Please check out the website if you like. I'm going to be back on for more, more of this coming up. There'll probably be some delays too in terms of when I hit a wall that I can't get over. In other words, like my mental capacity / energy, if the motivation fades, I sort of just can't do that. That's the ADHD stuff that if it's like suddenly I don't want to do it, I just can't fucking force myself to do it. And it's, okay. All right. I'll stop. So, thanks for watching. Looking for my particle button there. There it is. A little bit fast. I don't know. We'll see. We'll do something. I'm going to have fun playing with that. And I hope you had fun watching this. Managed to keep it under 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's actually pretty short for me. I can't do this long during the production of the podcast or of the documentary. It's a tough lift for me to keep it that together. But I can try to keep it shorter and try to keep this sort of. I have to maintain some kind of presence as I'm putting stuff out. The dream is that people, when I start going on some shows and pushing for the fundraiser, and if I can get some help in that sense, I still have tens of thousands of debt to pay off for how I financed this. I will be. The dream is that I don't have to do any communication until it's done, or maybe like a very short check-ins every couple of months. I'm out here working on it. Leave me alone. I'm in the shed. You're going to hear sparks and grinding and metal noises and clanging and banging and me screaming and swearing, but don't come near the barn. And then eventually I'll be like, here it is. And I'll hold it up and I'll be like, I have finished, because I can't do the daily cycle grind fucks me. I've worked in this business and I've done it and I've tried it and I just can't sustain it. I mean, maybe if someone was paying me and I'm working on some show and I'm a part of a team that does it or something, that might be different. But it's just, I'm more of a, disappears into the woods and then comes back having invented a new type of bow and arrow, or I don't know. I really do feel like I was born like about 45,000 years too late. I would have invented knots. I'm obsessive and meticulous, and I like to solve physical little puzzles. It's like woodworking is such a delight for me, and why it's so tragic that I went and got a woodworking job that destroyed my wrists by holding vibrating tools for 7 hours a day. So yeah, bummer. Yeah, okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you all again. Thanks for your patience and for let me get my safety glasses. Always wear your safety glasses and my mallet. I love these. I do want to build a batch of these. I can do about 2 hours of woodworking with braces on my wrists, but it would be fun to build. And it wouldn't be exactly like this. It'd be different materials, different species. But wouldn't it be cool if I had some of these to sell as part of the fundraiser? And they'd be very expensive, like $500. You know, it'd take several hours minimum, not to mention the pain, because every 2 hours of woodworking leads to 2 or 3 days of my wrists hurting a little bit. But I can do it kind of. I'm very slow and careful. They're wedged in there with walnut wedges. So this piece connects to the handle, and it's an angled cut in the middle that I carved out with chisels. You can also do it in 3 different parts by splitting the head and doing a glue up, and that way you can control the angle much more precisely. It actually would be 4 different parts because the middle piece would have 2 parts as the outside pieces would be whole. And these are really satisfying. I mean, look at that handle. Don't you just want to wrap your hands around that? Speaking of corn dogs, huh? I literally modeled it off of bones. See how I kind of gave it this kind of cool curvy? I didn't have bones to model it off of, but I just had a memory of, bones, like a cow femur or something. And it's really satisfying. It feels really good to hold. So, okay. So, talk to you guys soon. See you all later. Okay, but it probably is against YouTube. I might have to blur that, to be honest. But, okay. I'm going to do an Andrew Yang bite. A Pete Buttigieg. And we'll talk to you guys next time. See you later. Bye.